It's like, you know, the bachelor gets left at home, you come back,
and then
you're just eating dried chicken, nothing on it.
I can't name any names, but I have heard from multiple different teams across the last few weeks about having days off in the middle of the week because, well, LYON canceled scrims on us. So I feel like either, I mean, the more likely is they are trying to take it easy while Inspired is gone, or they're so mental boomed from the practice they just can't even play.
From the undefeated season that they're having.
I mean, Saint did have food poisoning last week. That might have been the cancel, but I heard one this week too.
Okay,
so you never know.
Okay. I ran into our Mayo before the game started, and I was like, "Bro, I heard they fired Inspired. You're gonna be starting jungling for a LYON because you're just winning too much." He's like, "No, I refuse. I am retired.
I'm going back to school."
Yeah, exactly. He's like, "They can't make me." So, and our Mayo's back for another week. We assume this is the last week. I've heard that
it was crazy.
We will find out.
I was talking about this on Mind the Gap, and I was looking at the global contract database, and at the time it was like the 10th, and it said his contract expired on the 9th. I'm like, yeah, he's done. And then right after I post the episode, I read a comment, be like, they just updated it for another week. I'm like, he's in! That's how I got my update that Inspired wasn't coming back.
There you go. That's how Inspired got his update too. Got let go at the same time. You forgot to see that in the global database. Our Mayo, the undefeated king of the LCS, 6-0 so far. In his time subbing in for LYON, you know, we're joking, but also it is very impressive.
He's been solid.
And, you know, it's easy to say in retrospect, oh yeah, well, LYON's laners are so good, they're just going to win anyway. But none of us really, except for Kobe, thought that they were actually going to finish first in the regular season.
Correct.
Because we made our predictions based on Inspired being away. A lot of us thought there would be that MSI hangover, EWC hangover, that they'd be burnt out and that they would struggle. But they have not lost a single game, let alone a series.
That's the crazier part to me, is the fact that they are actually undefeated. But if you look closely at those games, there were some close ones. There were some volatile moments. But I would say that our Mayo has been an LCS level jungler. It's not like they took a high diamond player, threw him into LYON, and it was totally fine. He has a lot of LCS experience. He's slotted right in. His team fighting has been completely fine, sometimes very good. So I think it's going to be a fun little finish to his LCS career, assuming this is his last series.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if it is, and he's able to finish off on an 8-0, that is just really cool, right? Like, that's a really cool story to be able to tell. Yeah, still got it. Came back one more time.
All right.
It was a little bit too easy, so decided to go back to school.
Yeah. Not a challenge anymore.
Yeah, it wasn't really a challenge, so. Just going to be taking some casual classes, studying some astrophysics, you know, becoming a rocket scientist.
Our Mayo becomes the rocket scientist after being
looking for more of a challenge, you know?
The Olaf lock-in is interesting. Dokla has been having probably his best start to a split ever, to be completely honest, with how dominant he's been in laning phase and outside of laning phase. The Cassiopeia is likely mid lane, but is still holding that flex position. Berserker had a really good Cassio game in week 1, but Mage's bot lane, being on this live patch, are mildly nerfed.
Yeah, Olaf has just become so popular. MSI, obviously, it was coming out as kind of a niche counter pick. Then people are like, oh, it's actually pretty good in a lot of these matchups. And then it has gotten to the point that now it's just a blind pick. I'm expecting Jax and Vayne probably be the two bans that they would be looking for potentially here as kind of those protection bans for the Olaf. But
you're not buying into Impact Anivia counterpick, because that's another thing, the top lane Anivia into Olaf.
I mean, I feel like I can see the idea, right?
Yeah.
You can't immune the wall, you know?
Gotta run around it.
You gotta run around it. So I can see it, but I feel like Anivia is gonna struggle, you know, to actually put a lot of pressure on. And then you do have to be able to play, you know, with an additional mage and with one less kind of bruiser or frontliner, which is sometimes I think the thing that teams struggle with more than it is like the piling of champions. It's how they have to play differently in team fights.
Interesting. So they banned the Rumble instead, meaning if Impact wants to play Vayne, one of the preferred counter picks, or the Kled, he's going to be able to.
And I guess maybe they're just saying it's Impact,
talking about the Kled matchup yesterday as well, which is, I think the more Olaf plays against it, the slightly better it becomes for the Olaf, assuming like a Kled one trick was what was piloting it. But Impact's not a known Kled player, so it could be pretty difficult.
And he's not a known Vayne player either, right? So it may be more of a nod towards the player. They're like, you do play Jax, you do play Rumble. I don't believe you're going to play Kled. I don't believe you're going to play Vayne. So we'll just leave those open. He did play Varus top, which was a disaster game that ended in a win, if you do remember, where he just Shane died on repeat 100 times and then won the game. So there is always the possibility that he could go towards a ranged top laner, but when you think of Impact, you definitely do not expect him to be playing something like that into the Olaf.
LYON also takes the Shen for Isles, most likely. Just knowing Impact, maybe he would have had some random Shen tech that works into it, but That is another denial pick. So it's pseudo-ban into Sentinels just because of Impact's proficiency on it. Now we're going to find out, what does Impact take?
I bet he just takes like Renekton or something.
It's
like
the Anivia counter pick. He's doing the Anivia.
But it could be going mid, because Anivia is also good in
Dark
Casio.
Wings is a really good Anivia.
I'm just thinking it's the most boring possible pick, so it is Renekton.
And they'll still have the team fight Anivia wall tech if they just let Dark Wings play it.
But it could be. It could be the Impact Anivia top. We have to wait and find out what this final pick is going to be, and that will probably give us the answer. But I feel like usually in these kind of matchups, Impact does just go the most standard thing and then just kind of plays towards the matchup. But it is going to be the Kled, so very exciting. Going to be seeing the Impact Kled. I am a little bit dubious on if Impact plays crazy enough to really make Kled work, because Kled is a champion that you have to fight your way out of every difficult situation.
Yep.
It is not a champion that plays well from behind. It is not a champion with utility. You have to fight. You have to see the all-in angles, and that's kind of how this champion works. 5
career games on the Kled for Impact on stage. So more than I would have actually expected. 60%.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. You win 60% of your games every time, you win Worlds.
There you go. That's true.
That would be true. If all you ever do is win very consistently 60% of your games, you'd always win Worlds.
If in every series.
Correct. You can never fall below it.
Because if you start in play-ins, you could win all your games and then just, lose really quickly in the group stage. You still have a 60% win rate.
Yeah. But
if you win 60% of the games in every series,
then you win Worlds.
Then you win Worlds.
Yes.
There you go. So there you have it.
We found
officially a Kled worthy of winning Worlds. Exactly. Based on the stats, we have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that Impact is a Worlds winning Kled.
But I think beyond,
unless he loses in that case.
Beyond his 60, then he's back to 50%. And that's crash.
Yeah.
It's beyond having to play super aggressive. You really just have to know all your limits. I liked your skill point check when you're not skilling up the W in lane, holding it, so when you dismount, you can instantly remount.
It is a really, really big deal in a lot of aggressive Kled matchups. If you didn't listen to me talk about it yesterday, Kled is one of the only champions that you don't want to instantly skill your second skill point because the W is a passive, and what it does is it gives you additional damage on these auto attacks, and also gives you a ton of attack speed. So you get a ton of attack speed, like 100, 150% or something like that.
Yeah.
And it allows you to remount really, really quickly. But if you just skill it instantly, it is very unlikely that you have it perfectly come up as you dismount. So what people do is they hold the skill point right when you dismount, you level up the W, you instantly get these fast auto attacks coming out, and you have the pocket pistols. You can get a really quick remount, which is incredibly powerful for these all-ins.
Yeah. So I've just heard emergency bathroom break for Berserker and Armeo, but I think more so Berserker. So Berserker's the one who paused the game, and then if someone goes, now the floodgates are open. Now everyone's just leaving. So I blame Berserker for this. Yeah, he's like, you know what? If they're going to let us do this, why not?
I like the shrug to the camera. Joker's like, what? Where's everybody going? It's okay as long as we don't start the one at a time.
No. This is not okay, I think.
There's no one at a time.
I think this is spirit of the rule violation by Berserker.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard because you can't say, like, no, you're not allowed to go to the bathroom. But I think in this instance, you can.
You can.
Yeah.
You might be in trouble with the law.
I think Berserker did this last week, and I don't think you're going to have 2 emergencies back-to-back unless...
We've got Hall Monitor Jat on the case.
And if it's true, then we need to start talking about lactate pills. Because it's a dietary restriction at that point.
I'm not going down that route. I'm not doing bathroom stats here, Jat. That can be a Jat stat.
I'm just rather suspicious that this has happened 2 weeks in a row with LYON games. I think Dokla's rather suspicious too.
Yeah. I mean, you can ask him. They're chatting it up in chat right now.
I wish there was a way that I could get through
where is
the
teammates?
chat right now. Yeah, Saint's asking where his teammates are.
Well, we'll see how long it takes them. Hopefully they'll be back here pretty quick.
Well, there's not that many bathrooms in the building.
They got to split up.
We lost 6 players?
We got to split up. We got to go to different bathrooms.
Yeah.
You can't be forming a queue in one bathroom. That's just poor pathing. Did any junglers go? Because otherwise the pathing might not be
Armeo was gone right away.
All right, so we have to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Sure, he's going to know where to go. He's going to know where to go. He's a veteran.
Yeah.
He's been here before. He's like, I know there's one in the back. I know there's 2 by the kitchen.
AD carries, though, I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
If someone isn't shot calling for the AD carry, they could go to any bathroom. You don't know.
I know. This is what happens when an AD carry shot calls. You get a delay. Berserker's like, bathroom break, shot call.
Bad shot call.
And then people are like, I guess half the team is going to follow for the shot call.
Yeah.
Ludicrous.
The build order was bad today for sure.
Terrible.
Should have had the the bathroom break pre-tech check.
It's true.
To account for this, you know?
They do have a bathroom break. Like, they walked into the room like 10 minutes ago. There's no way in the 10 minutes after walking into the room, he's like, actually, now it's happening. Now I need, it's poor planning.
It is funny, but I will also say, when I competed, I always had to go to the bathroom right before I played.
That's it, for sure.
It's a classic nervous pee.
It's a classic nervous thing.
There
But that's why you're professionals. Everybody has it. You can't just start willy-nilly allowing these emergency pauses. Otherwise, we're in situations like this.
Just complete bedlam. It's chaos.
It is.
Chaos at the LCS.
So somehow Armeo was the second person to leave and the last person to return. So this doesn't bode that well for his performance in the game.
For his jungle clear?
Yeah, he's not going to be on top of things.
It's going to be a slow jungle clear.
Slow clear.
Slow clear.
Yeah, I think Joke was saying the same thing.
Yeah.
It's rather slow.
Right. Old guys went bathroom. I don't know why. They can't control bladder. That's the team chatting game from Saint Dope Club.
So production has done the VOD review. It wasn't last week, but it was week 2 that Berserker had called for the emergency bathroom break. I think this should be a World Cup yellow card system.
Okay.
So
he's
2 emergency
he just
bathroom
get a red card
breaks,
or what?
and you're not allowed another one. I mean,
Okay.
shoot, that actually kicks you up. I think, yeah, second one, it's a fine.
Yeah.
I think you get 1 emergency bathroom break per split, and the second one should be a fine.
Next one, Jat has decreed, have to pee yourself on stage.
No, I just think it's a fine. I mean, okay, if that's the case, then he's going to go before final tech check.
There you go.
He's going to know.
Yeah. Or he'll just pay up.
Armeo doesn't care. This is
you know?
Armeo's first yellow card. He's never coming back.
There you go.
So he's going to hold this up for 10 minutes. He doesn't.
Yeah. He can take as long as he wants.
He
The
can.
man with nothing to lose.
It's not like anyone's here to replace him. Inspired's still not here.
It's like Zazel when Zazel came back, you know, and the Shopify GM was saying, yeah, you know, everyone's playing for their spot. They gotta be performing. He's like, I'm not. I'm retired. I'm gonna leave. They can't do anything to me.
They have to prove to me they want to be here, except for this guy. Like,
Yeah.
we're really happy he's here.
He's like, I don't want to be here. What do you mean?
We needed him. Armeo, my guy. He's not even the one that paused, so perhaps, okay, if Armeo had the emergency, which it's looking more and more like that could have been the case,
Then
and Berserker was just pausing
he was
for
just
him,
innocent.
Then I
You're
think that's
slandering
okay.
his good name.
I'm potentially needing to make an amendment.
Yeah. You're gonna have to take back.
Yeah.
Go to the VAR, take back the yellow card.
I think potentially. I don't really want to ask him after the game, but I'm just
We're gonna
gonna
need a full review of the play.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah. Get to the bottom of this. The important things here.
It's been like, how long has it been? It's been like a 7-minute bathroom break.
He can take as long as he needs. That's my take, you know?
Okay.
He's got to go to the bathroom.
It is rather
When nature
rude
calls.
to try and speed someone up in the
When
bathroom.
nature calls, you know? You got to do what you got to do.
It is curious, though,
Who can help?
that you can go years without needing an emergency bathroom break and then suddenly have 2 and the 3 expand.
Mm-hmm. It's just like the sippy cups, you know? It's like the whole sippy cup situation. We never had
It's true.
a lot of spilling on stage. And then, you know, Sven Skaren, I feel like he was the one who started it all.
He did.
Phil Skaren himself. We got to the point where we're having so many spills, we needed sippy cups on stage for the pros.
But now they just have bottles of water.
They're back to bottles.
Yeah.
I wonder if Masu specifically has to use a sippy cup, though, because he did brick a PC.
It was Masu or was it Griffin recently?
I think it was Masu. I think he knocked a coffee directly into
the
APA's
computer. I remember this now.
Yeah, yeah. And
All
he
right.
nuked it. Hit it with the
Armeo's
one
back.
shot. All right.
Stop the count. It's
return.
been just under 7 minutes. Chat can let us know if that's an acceptable.
He took that
bathroom
long.
duration.
He wasn't just doing his full clear. He was doing some counter jungle.
Yeah, that's like, if you, at 7 minutes, you're already level 6. Like, that's a long.
He's ready to go.
He's ready for
He's
a
locked
couple
in.
full clears. Plus second crab. He knows
There you
exactly
go.
what he's doing.
Maybe he already got second grab.
Thank goodness we were starting this game.
All right, we're getting into game here. LYON versus Sentinels. Believe it or not, it's game 1.
Oh, crazy.
We're still here. And it is going to be Impact's Kled coming out here. He is playing Ignite plus the Flash, and Dokla is playing Flash Ghost. So no one going in towards the exhaust, but you can see already supports roaming up towards that top side, knowing this is going to be Spicy, who he does get that lane ward, and is a Pixel Brush ward here for Miles. So both supports have gone top and dropped down a ward.
Just additional safety, especially with the Jarvan in the game. There's always that cheese potential if Armeo wanted to completely sell out for the top lane, but...
And we didn't even really talk about it, but obviously Berserker did end up taking the Cassio bot, and then they moved, you know, Saint here mid on the Syndra. I was kind of initially expecting the opposite, but then when Anivia comes through, this makes a lot of sense because it is obviously an easier matchup for Syndra. Yeah,
I think that's a really good call. We've also seen a little bit of a rise of Syndra in LCK specifically. Chovy playing it last night. Interesting point, though, with Armeo. Now that he is really ready to play, junglers who have started the split 8-0. Here's the complete list. If Armeo wins the next 2 games, he would join this list of Inspired, Blabber, Reignover, and Saint Vicious. And I think the more important thing, though, if he really wants to be greatest of all time, is he wins these next 2 and then just goes off into the sunset. He would be the only one to start 8-0 and then end the split undefeated.
There you go.
Everyone else went on to lose a later game. Armeo would not.
Except for Armeo. Went out on top. That's how he'll be remembered.
Yep.
The greatest jungler of all time. It'll be the biggest what if, you know?
What if Armeo
what if Armeo stayed?
Yeah.
And they didn't have to play with that Inspired guy. Would they have won Worlds?
Inspired has never had a 100% win rate in a split. Armeo does right now.
Does so far. We'll see if he does in 30 minutes or so.
Well.
As Darkwing's trading pretty heavily here with Saint, but all jokes aside, of course, Inspired going to be back pretty soon. And it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I do think because the break has gone on quite a long time, there is the question, unironically, like obviously Inspired is the better player, but there is the question, will they perform better with Inspired right when he comes back? Because he's going to be returning, presumably, for Week 6 in Mexico for LYON home grounds, and they're going to have some really hard matches, including playing against TL, and he will basically have missed the entire split.
I completely agree. I was fully on board, and we don't know exactly why he's missing. Maybe it's completely out of our control, or out of his control, but if you're planning a break, I'm actually totally fine, you know, with MSI into EWC taking the first 2 weeks off of a split. Anything beyond that, and I start feeling like you can really start generating some rust, is going to take a long time to de-rust, and it's going to end up being an additional 5 weeks where his team has been playing on stage and he hasn't. That's a long time to start forming new habits that then have to be, you know, reacclimated once Inspired returns. So definitely a real concern for LYON in a weird way with how long he's been gone.
Yeah, it definitely can be. It's also, I always kind of think about, you know, when your shot caller leaves and you have someone else coming in, then they are taking on new responsibilities that then they have to kind of give up. This is Saint, though. He has been performing incredibly well this split. I think that it is fair to say him and Quid are the clear top 2 mid laners right now. And they are going to be facing off in Week 6, so not next week. They will have a bye to facilitate the extra games that they're going to be playing in Mexico at the LYON home ground. So that is really, I think, the match that everyone has circled to find out who is truly at the top of the LCS now.
Common egg. Nice common egg there by Saint. On to Darkwings. Will be vulnerable for a return gank. Obviously, it's still totally fine with where Darkwings got egg, but getting the egg that early can be quite beneficial if they want to get a Darkwings kill later. And to your point, Saint and Quid, the only 2 players currently to have a player of the week. Like Quid has won 2, Saint has won that 1, and Saint has taken all that momentum he had from MSI, translated it straight here to the LCS stage.
So Impact did not actually hold his W, so there's the flash in from Dokla looking for the solo, and I think he's gonna get it. Does not hold the skill point, doesn't have it for the remount. Wanted to use it for trading earlier on, and Dokla in the counter matchup makes it look easy. He had already forced his flash, which must have happened off screen, but that was super simple there for Dokla, and Impact is in a disaster spot already. You took the counter pick, you were down 14 CS and got solo killed by 4 minutes.
It's crazy. So he burned the flash at level 1 to Dokla when Dokla burned Ghost, skills his violent tendencies while under the turret without Dokla even being there. So wanted to just push out the wave, but flash ignite, completely solo kill. Dokla's dominance continues, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I mean, that is a disaster for Impact. In a lot of games like this, if you have that bad of a start on Kled, you are just useless for the rest of the game. You can't win your 1v1, then it becomes very, very difficult because you have basically no wave clear until you complete Titanic or something along those lines.
Yeah.
So even pushing out is hard, and it becomes tough, right? You're kind of relegated to just roaming around the map and looking for ults, looking for ways to kind of find picks. So we will see. I definitely was a bit of a doubter when he locked it in. It just didn't feel like an Impact-style champ. And we'll see if he can try to turn it around because he's in a horrible start.
He is, but he's up against Big Dokes, who, by the way, has been doing this to everybody, Azael.
Yeah.
This is Dokla stats, the guy who we're criticizing for laning phase in spring. Better laning than Thanatos so far. Gold difference at 14, CS difference at 14, and XP difference at 14. He's been absolutely smashing and has continued to do it here.
Like, as your average CSD, for 6 games, you're averaging up almost 20
It's absurd.
CS.
He's playing so well right now.
And, I mean, he's always been an amazing team fighter, so, you know, when you start having that kind of a laning phase as well, that is just terrifying. And Dokla, I agree, you know, I hadn't seen all those stats, but I've been looking at Dokla as the best top laner for sure right now, and Impact is going to keep taking the bad end of these trades. Dokla just going to be looking to push him back, and the scary thing here for Impact is Dokla will just slowly whittle you down, get you dismounted, and then he will be looking for an all-in while you are dismounted and just try to take you out before you can actually get that remount.
Yeah, sitting on 3 biscuits and a refillable potion as well for Dokla. Like, he's got sustain for days as well in his ability to win the war of attrition in this lane, has the experience advantage on him as well, hitting level 7 first. So he's in a good spot. It's all about whether or not the rest of LYON can hold that advantage and then let him run over team fights late game.
Yeah, it is going to be pretty difficult for them to deal with this Olaf. Any Olaf from ahead is really tough to deal with. Obviously, very reliant on CC here, you know, with champions like Leona, and even, you know, knockup from Xin and so on and so forth. But the Anivia can be quite good, especially if you do fight in corridors, because you can just wall off an Olaf, and then if he doesn't have flash, the ult doesn't do anything. So there is that possibility to just try to kite it out and to try to delay and be able to win an extended fight. But at the same time, LYON do have a lot of power in their extended fight as well, with both Syndra and Cassio, you know, being pretty high DPS champs.
It absolutely is. I mean, just looking at the CSD, I know Wave's crashing, but he's already plus 18 at 7 minutes. If you can keep holding that, it's only going to get worse. But we'll say Hambach did manage to secure the first Drake of the game. The overall game state, if you close your eyes and don't look at top lane, still totally fine, with Rahel doing completely fine into the Cassiopeia early in the bottom lane.
Yeah, so there's the dismount. Isles is up on this side, but they aren't going to look for any sort of a dive. Just going to take the push in and reset here, and Impact will be a little bit delayed on his recall. Yeah,
and the egg just came back up for Darkwing, so getting egged early on doesn't end up costing him whatsoever. Still just a little bit down in farm, but he's in an okay spot on Anivia, as we could be seeing a big grub fight here.
Yeah, Armeo going to take 1 grub and just flag and drag out over the wall. Likely to give up 2. Scatter going to connect there on to Huhi, but is pretty tanky and will be difficult to fight their way in past Darkwings. You can see both top laners are moving down, but Impact is still dismounted. This could be a dangerous fight for him. Armeo looking. The second grub going to be taken as there's the taunt flash onto Darkwings. Flashes over the wall to get away from Armeo. Saint going to be looking with the scatter here. Hambach trying to turn back around there with Huhi. Is on the side. The ult gets popped as it's Dokla looking for Impact. Chasing him down. Dismounts him once again as the Cataclysm is there onto Hambach. Saint going to get knocked back over the wall by the Blast Cone. Saint flashes out with no HP. Finally burns down. Armeo is fighting. Darkwings is out of mana. And it is a kill on the top side there for Dokla on to Impact.
Fight on 2 fronts. Dokla gets the 1v1 up top with an extended turret dive, and Rahel's Ezreal ultimate almost turned that. Saint got put in a pretty goofy position, getting blast coned over by Huhi's Leona, but let's watch it one more time. The Anivia really sectioning Saint down at the beginning of the fight, and then it's kind of about waiting for cooldowns, right? Saint used his QE early, but then once Huhi flies over the wall, Armeo and Isles decided to just all in on Hambach. Going to focus on the bottom fight here because Saint gets thrown back in. Looks like he flashed into the Ezreal ultimate over the wall, which eventually led to him falling. Otherwise, that could have been an even bigger win for LYON.
Yeah, that was pretty well played by Huhi, just hitting that blast cone to knock Saint back into the pit, gets him low, and then he tries to flash out, gets tagged by that ulti as you're talking about. And now Dokla does have his experimental hexblade. Great scatter there from Saint, and Huhi is just gonna be gone. Has no flash and has no way out. Berserker picking up the kill. Great roam there from Saint. And this is your MasterCard power spike of the game. Dokla with those 2 early kills. I think both of them were a solo as well. I'm not sure if anyone got an assist onto Impact. And he is gonna be so far ahead. Impact just can't take any of these fights.
That's really insane. I mean, it is, I think, at this point, an overpowered pick. But also, if you're going to play what is considered the counter to it, I think this is proving that you need to be really experienced on the Kled. And I think the more Olaf you play, since there are some players, even in North America, that are like basically Kled one tricks, I'm sure Dokla's played against him, so he'll know exactly how the matchup is supposed to go. And as soon as Impact doesn't do that, Dokla's been punishing him immediately.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And this is always the risk of some of these kind of counter picks, especially a champion like Kled. It is insanely high risk, high reward champion. You can just play a tank into Olaf and kind of just lose gracefully, right? You know, you're not going to have a fun time. You're not going to be able to take a lot of trades, but you can farm and you can be useful. We'll see if he can find a way. As Saint here going to get caught, and he's going to get solar flared. The follow-up stun is there, and on the other side, the Petrifying Gaze was onto the Xin Zhao, who falls as well. Saint stays alive. Darkwings is dead, and LYON crushed the fight and are just starting to run away with it.
Yeah, maybe they're fine without Inspired. You know, the more I watch this game, it feels like everyone is just smashing. Dokla still in the top lane. What a crisp fight that was. Dokla might end up falling here. He's got ult still.
Yeah, going to be stunned up. There's the Ignite. He's going to flash over the wall, but a great joust to follow from Impact. Dokla tries to take the fight, cannot do it. Overextended, punished there by Huhi.
Nice gank, and then getting the shutdown onto Impact will potentially save his game. Really needed that one, but it's off the back of what was a very big fight win and Drake take for LYON.
They will look me. They will look me. Look.
Looks in. Zin.
We're killing his in one shot. Keep going.
Sorry.
It's good. Slowly.
You got
it. Yeah. Give me K.
Kled base.
You guys eat. Fail. Nice. Good one.
Good one. Good shot calling there by Armeo at the end. But I'd say Isles played that fight great. The initial taunt, and then not panicking with the ultimate onto Saint, so getting kind of all his cooldowns off in the fight initially before providing the shield onto Saint really just allowed them to maximize that fight.
Zenitblade going to connect here onto Isles. Isles tries to taunt over the wall, gets pulled back by the bear trap on a rope. Knocked down there by Hambach. 2 times, Isles up towards that top side, and this time he is going to be punished. Armeo going to look down on bot side for Darkwings.
No flash,
the wall
no
has
wall.
just been spent. Yeah, no wall, no flash, no egg, no nothing. And this is going to be a pretty easy kill here. You have to think they give it over, tried to give it over to Dokla. I'm not even sure how Armeo got it.
I think he smote him to death. I think that was a little dirty little smite there by Armeo because it wasn't the red buff.
Smite steal. Added to the column.
It's like I'm pretending I'm giving it to you, just like yoink right at the very end.
The little fadeaway smite, steal it away.
Nice gank. I mean, timing on his EQ was perfect to interrupt the R. Darkwings, I think, spends his cooldowns a little bit prematurely just because Dokla is so scary in this game, doesn't even want to let him get close, but ends up costing him pretty dearly.
Yeah, it definitely did. And even though they did kill Dokla, we didn't get to rewatch that. But Dokla was playing between the 2 towers and wanted to obviously interrupt Impact, who was trying to ult back for the wave. So even though Impact got the shutdown, he lost the entire wave, including the cannon to his tower. So it didn't close the gold as much as you would have expected, right? Because he missed out on all those minions. So he does get the shutdown, but after this kill for Dokla, after the plates for Dokla, Dokla is still up 1.2k, Saint up 1.3k. These solo laners very, very strong right now.
Yep. I mean, the carries. Armeo wouldn't have as much gold of Dokla if he didn't smite the kill away. And then Dokla would probably be up there with Berserker and Saint, but you can see it right there.
Going to try to look for potentially for a dive, but I don't think this will work, so I don't know that they're actually going to go for it. But 2 members there from Sentinels trying to cover Darkwings, who has given up his cozy little spot in mid lane, and playing side lane's a lot more risky, so does need that backup. They get him some vision, but LYON already making a play on the other side of the map, looking to knock down this tower, which would be first turret of the game, and Impact not going to be able to do anything about it.
Well, can't get the interrupt on Armeo's reset either, so tempo not disrupted. Saint in a position to carry this game as well with the Anivia, still playing so well. 10 CS per minute, not to mention the first turret of the game. Very, very strong.
Yeah, Hambach here on the invade. Armeo will just flag and drag away, but Sentinels moving a lot of members up towards topside. Dokla going to TP in behind them, and they're going to look to try to force the fight. Eyes here on to Hambach. He gets caught and just knocked down in a hurry. Nothing he can really do about that. Great TP from Dokla, and now they're looking topside for Darkwings, who has no turret. Going to try to TP out. Looks like he just might do it. Stays safe. As it looks like the Unleashed Power would have potentially killed him, but TP's out just in time.
Narrow escape, but just a beautiful play by Dokla right there. He's not even in base for that TP. He's just pushing bot wave. So catches Hambach a little bit unawares. The ward that was placed previously by Isles just gives him a very easy kill. But it does live let the bot lane go a little bit, so Dokla sacrificed a bit for the team, but they're getting so much off of it otherwise.
Yeah, they're going to take the Herald, and Isles is down there to cover Dokla, so even though they get a little bit of gold there for Dark Wings, the gold extends even further up to almost 4,000. Now it crosses that 4,000 threshold here for LYON. We're looking fully in control of this game. We'll see if Sentinels can find some good plays, try to turn it around. Impact definitely going to have a very difficult time in this one, as he has completed his Titanic, so now he has some good wave clear, but Dokla almost has the Stride Breaker and is pretty much that full item completion ahead very shortly.
And Dokla in teamfights doesn't even necessarily need to worry about the Kled. He can win in side lanes against him, but he's just going to be running down Zin and Leona. Like, it's just very easy to have the melee champions that are right next to him and kind of mow them down. So Armeo just focus Drakes, threaten Soul, and try and move to 7-0. That's maybe what we're tracking at this point with how well they're opening up this game. Let's see if Sentinels can turn something around with the way bounties are.
Yeah, Dokla getting CC'd up here. We'll see when he wants to actually pop the ult. There, he does pop it. And trying to run out here with the Ghost, but on the other side, it's a fight as Berserker can't connect the Petrifying Gaze onto Rahel. In comes the reinforcements from Impact, but the charge will find not much of anything. Both fights do end up disengaged, and no one goes down.
Interesting they didn't get the stun there onto Rahel. Maybe a little late on the Petrifying Gaze, because normally the taunt into Petrifying Gaze is the combo, but couldn't quite time it up correctly. Hadn't gotten much chance to talk about Berserker's Cassio. It was very good. The nerfs are quite small, to be completely honest, for the mages bot lane. So this is our first LCS team running back mages post MR buff for AD carries.
Yep, the MR buff, Berserker Street's buff, the Fleet buff as well. So been a number of different little changes to try to push it. It was versus, it was versus FlyQuest. That's what I thought against that matchup against Masu, where he played it last and he was diving Masu and chasing after him and had a really good game. And it's been a really pleasant surprise to see how well Berserker's been playing on mages, because I always thought of him as he is the traditional AD carries AD carry, right? Like this is the guy that is hyper carries. He, across all his careers, his games, which was like 3 or 4 prior to playing at MSI, he had 1 total kill, and all of them were losses. And then he played great on Ziggs. And then he came back here, and he's played great on Cassio. And he feels like he really has kind of turned over a new leaf and is playing incredibly well on these different champions. As Darkwing's going to get put low here. The unleashed power from Saint doesn't quite finish him off, but there's the taunt over onto Hui, and he is going to be in a lot of trouble. Berserker goes in with Petrifying Gaze, trying to fight against Hambach, and Hambach going to be locked into the Cataclysm. Thereby Armeo flashes out, trying to make a run for it. Won't be able to get away. Impact and Darkwings limping out to safety, but 2 more easy kills while Dokla just farms plates topside.
Yeah, I mean, it was an insane numbers advantage right there. Impact was in base with no charge. Saint chunks the Anivia out, and then he's entering the fight. So anyone who's actually fighting in River is just going to get obliterated because there's too many people there. I mean, even while that was happening, Rahel's like picking up blue buff.
Dokla just going to take this 1v2. We'll see how he does. Pushes Impact back. They have to run. They're trying to wait out the ulti, and now the charge comes back up as that ultimate expires. 3 members show up. Rahel gets the kill. Dokla bites off more than he can chew.
Couple of times this game, Dokla's pushing his advantage a little bit too hard, but fortunately for him, Saint is 3,000 gold ahead, well over 10 CS per minute. I believe also got a good chunk of the turret gold bot lane as well. We're going to watch this play one more time as Saint over on the side to start it is chunking him out. And Hui was actually looking for this play, which is not a good play once the cavalry arrives. Armeo, Berserker, and Isles all easily able to join up. And then Hambach is just completely dead to rights here. Impact can't join this unless he too wants to die. And extra kills go over to Saint.
Yeah, it does really make me wonder if they had a read that Berserker was going to be mid lane matching Rahel. They didn't seem to have
base or something?
A good understanding of where the LYON members would be. Otherwise, there's no way that Hui would be looking for that fight. He clearly thought it was a lot more even numbered than it was. Darkwings does finally knock down a tower, and it is an objective bounty, but on the other side, Saint almost knocking down this tier 2, and he is just such a problem in this game. There's not really a lot of tanky members over on this Sentinel side, and this Syndra being this fed is going to be an issue.
Yep. Once you get into I can one-shot anyone on the team territory.
Deep TP, they are going to try to force this. This is a nice rocket belt. Avoids the wind as he comes lightning, but Saint is getting flanked right now by Darkwings. Might have to use the flash in the back of the pit. We'll see if he does. Solar Flare going to force the flash. Armeo will flag and drag back out. Nice little attempt there from Sentinels, but now LYON might want to force a fight themselves. Dokla, though, still not here, so they will be happy to just disengage, spend the flash, and buy more time for Dokla.
I like the angle right there, but Saint appropriately patient with his flash. A nice Anivia wall, much like in his ear wall, just to put it up early, interrupt Shelly, so it ends up doing nothing. Wasn't a Battle Herald, was not a turret plate destroyer either.
Scatter comes in. Cataclysm going to be used there onto Hambach. Armeo going to have to flag and drag out who he could look for him. The flash early there from Armeo as the charge is coming in now from Impact, but will not be in range. Hambach is, though, another flag in the drag. Nice buffer out. The flash, the bear trap on a rope, pulls him back. The locket, though, from Isles will keep Armeo safe. And still, Dokla is untouched, pushing bot lane. Sentinels try to force, get nothing, and they're going to lose the full tower plus the minions bot, and they lose the tower mid.
2 turrets for Armeo's flash. So got that, but that's going to hurt their overall state of the game. Objective bounties actually had fallen off, but I feel like LYON continue to advance their map state pretty well right there. They are going to trade back at the top, but just a nice escape there overall by Armeo, and nice patience by Isles to just know that they didn't really have the kill damage. Let's just pop the locket rather than using Stand United, still have Stand United for the team fight.
Absolutely does, and this Dragon not going to be contested whatsoever. You can see Hambach was up pushing top lane there with Impact. They knocked down the turret, but it means Soul Point here for LYON. Will be Hextech Soul on the table in just under 5 minutes now for LYON.
My goodness. I'm looking forward to LYON versus TL if they keep this up.
I am as well.
Can we convince Armeo to go to Mexico?
Just in case, you know?
Just in case. If they lose the first game with Inspired, maybe just pop them back in there.
Exactly.
Keep the undefeated streak alive.
And if they win, eat some delicious Mexican food.
Absolutely. What's to lose?
You know where else you can eat some delicious food? It is Atlanta, Georgia, at the Gas South Arena on October 3rd and 4th. Tickets are on sale now. You know what? I'm just going to say it. LYON's going to be there. You're going to see him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Making the call.
I'm making the call. It's not very bold, but it is a take.
It's top 3 is required.
It's a room temperature take.
Room temperature take.
Yeah.
I'll allow
Might
it.
even be a cold take, but it is a take, and they're going to be there, I think. Isles getting put low. True Shot Barrage going to be answered by the locket there, as Isles will stay safe. They use the Miasma to just disengage, and again, Dokla just playing the side lane, while Impact is the one grouping and trying to find angles.
Yeah, Dokla still getting richer and richer. Has his role quest completed, so has 3 full summoner spells ready if he ever wants to join. If Dark Wings tries to force Baron. Both teams have decent Nash damage, one because of the Anivia, the other because of Cassiopeia. So for the most part, I think LYON is just going to continue splitting the map like this since they have the Shen as well as the stronger side lane, and then kind of wait for the Soul.
Syndra now, level 15, just completed the death cap, and has 8 stacks on the Darksteel. So Saint is ridiculously strong right now. Dokla going to be working in towards his 3rd item as Armeo just goes straight in onto Hambach. Going to get hit by the Cataclysm once again. Taunt there to follow it up from Isles. But a great wall actually keeps Berserker out of the fight, and means that Isles goes down. Berserker, though, fighting against Impact on the side. Dokla here joining up with him. He's going to have to use the charge to retreat, but he gets dismounted. Knocked off his horse, and now a great wall. Good sidestep from all of Sentinels. Avoid the Petrifying Gates. True Shot Barrage comes in, tags 1. Sentinels don't look like they can find more. Hui's trying to go in. Did he go too far? Has to flash back out from the Flag and Drag, and Saint is going to take him out with the Unleashed Power. Dokla in some trouble, forced to flash out. Great scatter on a Dark Wings. He is egged up. Rahel, Hambach, Impact trying to help him, but they can do nothing. Impact without his Lizard, not that threatening.
Really cool fight right there. It did look like Sentinels was pulling off something cool with Dark Wings and Nivea having a couple really well-placed walls, but then Saint Cinder showed up. And he's a little bit too fed to deal with, getting the easy kill onto Huhi and then helping egg Dark Wings so that they could get the kill onto him.
Yeah, and it's just tough. I mean, in these situations, Sentinels know they're super behind, so they want to get more. The initial play was great, though. You know, just the wall keeping Berserker away.
Especially because of where Saint started this fight. You can see on the minimap, he's just crossing Baron right now. So Isles gets ganged up on at the very start of the fight. But then the extension here, like, really nice movement from Dark Wings to run over, make sure they can't secure this kill, and even put the pressure right onto Berserker. Gets his flash as well when he needs to escape over the wall. But then they're like, oh, wait a second, this is a level 15 Syndra. Huhi, I think, with the mistake on that E right there. Gonna wish he had that one back. Burns his flash as well as die.
Yeah, and going back in, you understand it. They know they're behind. They're looking for more. and wanted to try to get more than just that one kill. You know, they're saying, hey, maybe we killed the support off early. We got Douglas all down early. We just got the flash and the cleanse off Berserker. Maybe we can just ace him. Maybe we can go for more. But at the end of the day, you just end up losing your summoner, give over a kill. Who he has rush the Kanan Crooker, and pretty atypical, but it is both Cassio as well as the Syndra who are the real threat to him. They're going to be the ones hitting him, so makes sense in that regard. But it's going to be 1 minute until Soul's on the table here for LYON, and Sentinels have got to make their stand there. Yeah, completely support the Kanan Crooker and for who he. Too bad there's not more players on their team that can stack a lot of magic resist, just because Impact and Hambach do have to fight the Olaf Jarvan over and over again. So that's why the balance of these double APs with mid-bot doesn't get punished with MR stacking as much, as long as you're getting enough physical damage from your mid-top, which I feel like LYON has here to make builds difficult. And I think it's one of the struggles just of itemization in general. Like, people like Death Dance way more than they like Ma. You know, Ma is just not that strong in general. So, you know, even the Xin is probably still going to go towards GA. And Ma is hard to fit in, even against double AP comps. Sentinels, though, working away on the Baron very slowly, as Rahel tries to get some poke down as the LYON members do enter. Slowly but surely, Baron is getting lower, but this feels like a very risky proposition, as now LYON taking some space in the area. Impact is on a flank angle. Yeah, the Impact flank might be the look here if they're trying to go. Oh, Berserker whiff there on the Petrifying Gaze, but still chasing after Impact. Rocket Belt's forward, and there's the taunt flash, and Dark Wings is just gone. Impact now getting chased down. Another Q does connect. It's going to be a double kill there for Armeo, as Huhi falls as well. Impact going back to base, has the ulti to rejoin, but Armeo looking for more on the side here. Hambach and Rahel trying to push them back. The scatter does whiff. Hambach goes back in, pops the Crescent Guard, knocks Armeo back towards the tower, and he gets shut down by Rahel. Beautiful plays there from Hambach as he knocks the enemy jungler right into the turret, and is enough damage to get the kill. Yeah, wait a second. Now there's no smite. Maybe the miracle is... Probably not, but you never know. Maybe they'll stop the Soul. They can't stop the Soul. It's going to be tough. No one's trying. Maybe you go for a miracle Ezreal ult or something like that, but... Ezreal popping the ulti. Let's see. Is it on time? Gets low, but not low enough. They will claim the Soul. It's going to be a Baron rush on the other side, but LYON are aware of it. Saint TPing in. Level 16 now with the Hextech Soul. This guy is going to be a terror. Huhi looking on the side to see if he can find an angle for an engage. Probably get the Baron. Does get some vision here for the team. They will secure the Baron. The question is, can you get out? Douglas coming behind you on one side. Saint is on the other. And LYON are about to get the bad news. There's the Stand United. Douglas in the middle of the entire team. They're trying to burst him down. They can't finish him off till just now. But Rahel has got a lot of work to do. Flash over the wall there from Saint. He gets stunned up. He may just get burst down. It's a 1K shutdown. Saint tries to become the hero, and he ends up the zero, as it's a 1K shutdown given over to Rahel. Flashed in for the scatter, was instantly stunned by Huhi, and could not get the kill. It's an old reference, but Huhi didn't hear no bell in this game. They gave away the Hex Soul, and they just keep making plays to see if they can make the comeback. They get huge bounties out of the Saint and Dokla kills, and it just felt like, because of the choke points they were fighting in, they were really able to abuse the Anivia here. So first off, smart to just go Baron. They have high Baron damage with the Ezreal and the Anivia, and there's no smite on the other side. Then it's all about just getting to a spot where the Anivia can fight well. So even if you're going to get flanked, make sure you can isolate these fights. Berserker can't get in to the fight right now, so Dokla does kind of just go too early, and nobody else can join him for a very long time. The stopwatch on top of the Anivia ult was great for Darkwings, and then yet another wall. Berserker can't follow through, so when Saint flashes, he gets an egg and gives away his own bounty. And finally, Armeo arrives to see the corpses of his teammates. Yeah, I wonder if he thought he was going to be able to kill Rahel there, but very risky flash in. And as you said, you know, Dokla goes in. It was kind of go then or lose the moment to go. Maybe the better choice was just give up that Baron, but clearly they had made the call that they could punish, that they could look for that fight. But Anivia so successful in these moments, you know, zoning people out. Berserker was really far, as you say, and LYON do lose out on this fight, but still in a very good position in this game. Up 2,000 gold, do have the Soul. But Rahel is nearly 3,000 gold up on his counterpart in Berserker now, so Rahel is really getting paid. Yeah, that was a lot of gold from that last fight. So he was about 1,400 gold up before those bounties. Now 3,000 gold up. So they are against Hex Soul. It's still going to be very difficult, but a full item Ezreal can do a lot of damage, no matter what. Absolutely can. I mean, you know, it is a strong Olaf, it is a strong Syndra, but as we have seen, if you can actually manipulate the terrain, keep them out, they can't connect at the same time, you can kite back and just burst down this Olaf. Darkwings did lose both his egg and his stasis, though, in that last fight, and he doesn't have Zhonya's gold yet, so we'll see if he can farm towards that Zhonya's gold. It is going to be very important.
Yeah, you can see gold and damage right there. Because the bounties were held the richest in the game, Saints still the most damage in the game. But it's a game right now, and that was a big throw by LYON trying to go in after that Baron. Giving up the Baron is one thing, not that big a deal. Just I believe the Baron objective bounty had fallen. I'm not 100% sure, but there were definitely champion bounties available for Sentinels, and the game is much closer than before. LYON even got Soul, really.
Yeah, you can see Impact there. Still very scared about his position in the game as Berserker procs the Rylai's with his Rocket Belt, and that is enough for Impact to say, nope, never mind, I'm leaving. I apologize.
I mean, I wasn't going to bring this up because it was going to make me look really bad at the start of the series when I said maybe Sentinels wins because of time without Inspired. I'm just saying, would an Inspired LYON make that play? Probably not.
I mean, they've now spent 31 more minutes of gameplay without Inspired, you know? So
that's true. The start of the game, and then they forgot
exactly
what Inspired would have done in that situation.
Every minute that passes,
he would have told them to play
from
slow.
Inspired. Yeah. Exactly.
Take it slow.
Yeah, exactly. Nah, they don't have Inspired to rein them in. All the craziness on the team that they like to go for. But LYON, of course, doing amazing without him, and you know, a number of these players, you know, were shot callers on their teams without him. So having talked to LYON, Saint and Berserker were shot calling for their teams in the past, so they're very comfortable kind of stepping into that role and taking on more responsibility. And it'll be interesting to see, you know, what lessons they have learned playing without him, and if they want to, you know, maintain some of those things and change some of the shot calling responsibilities a little bit as a result.
With this game being close, I need to. You know, maybe this is Armeo's last series with LYON. I need to remind people what is at stake. We talked about it at the start of the game, but there's only been a few junglers that have started 8-0 in games. So remember, Armeo is 6-0 in games. We need to 2-0 to join Inspired, Blabber, Reignover, and TFT player Saint Vicious as 8-0 junglers. However, none of these junglers have gone 8-0 and then ended the split with a 100% win rate. So you can't lose a single time to keep that 100% win rate. Armeo has to rein the team in, tell them that history is on the line right here.
Exactly. That's what he's here for. He's here for the records. He's here for the glory.
The records.
And then he's here to leave and go back to school.
Yes, complete my degree.
Very clearly. Respect, stay in school, just like Armeo. And you too could go 8-0 in the LCS. As LYON now setting up here, 25 seconds until the Elder does spawn. And that, as we know, is the great equalizer. It is still a gold lead for LYON. It is the soul in their favor. We'll see if they can close this game out. Sentinels have made it so much closer. Rahel now has the fully completed Maw. It's going to be much more difficult to take down, but it is a very dark river. Sentinels really have not been able to get much vision.
Definitely not. We'll see. I'm a little interested that he went Maw instead of Endless Hunger. I understand, like, you get in range of Cinder, he presses one button on you, so you need the Maw, but okay, he still has a lot of damage. I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think he does do a lot of damage. And when it procs, you get that lifeline, so you have a little bit of a spell vamp there. Ombak, though, taking so much damage, getting slowed down from both sides. As that Hex Soul proc was putting him low. Armeo has been chunked out. Doka losing about half his HP as well. Rahel going to send him packing. He's got a flash, he's got a ghost, he's got an ult, and he's going to get the Stand United. And it is still not enough as he burns down to the Ignite. And just like that, Sentinels may have earned themselves the Elder. Impact going to get chunked, though. Flash in there onto Berserker. Berserker in trouble, does cleanse out. Kiting back here. And on the other side, Armeo has to flash up the wall. Berserker flashes in. He's looking for Rahel. The Cataclysm is going to get shifted away from Rahel. Pops the barrier. Into the GA goes Armeo. Berserker is on a blinking health bar as Hombach goes in, but Berserker is staying around to fight. Saint with the scatter under Rahel. Sage is incredibly low, but is still surviving. There's the teleport from Impact. Has the ulti flash forward. Bear trap on a rope, going to miss, but the ulti does not miss. Impact gets his revenge for the early game. Berserker kiting, Berserker fighting. I don't know if it's going to be enough, though, because in comes Darkwings. It is the ace for Sentinels. It is the Elder going to be going the way of Sentinels. This game has just flipped on its head.
And Rahel has completely turned on. The damage he got down onto Dokla, Ignite and Death's Dance just burned him to death. Now they'll have the Elder with Baron up. Watching this one more time, though, it's just to pick onto Dokla. The Hextech Soul does not make you any tankier. So even through the Shen ult, all the stored up Death's Dance damage plus Ignite gets him, and then the rest of the fight is a 4v5. It's just very difficult for LYON to approach. And honestly, the Maw is pretty clutch right here at the end when Rahel does get the gameplay button pressed on him later by Saint, lives through it. He dodges the damage so well from Armeo early. Rahel just maximizing his damage. I gotta say, at the back end of that fight, if they were just a little cleaner, maybe they could have ended through top lane. There was a big minion wave, but they had to chase the kills. They had to get the Elder. Now they get the Baron, and it's anyone's game at this point.
Absolutely is. And Sentinels, we talked about the history for Armeo, but Armeo has not lost an LCS game in 736 days, so Sentinels on a path to history themselves, chasing the glory of taking down the unkillable Demon King himself, Armeo.
These are quite impressive statistics. I feel like it's been even longer since you and I have lost an LCS game, but we're moving on.
I'm actually undefeated in the LCS.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
amazing job.
Stuff. Thank you.
Okay, so the power of the soul almost mitigated by the gold lead and just the fact that Rahel is nearing 7 items. He's gone Seekers as well, so a little bit defensive on the Ezreal just so he doesn't get one shot. Still has his Maw proc, still has the ability to go into stasis. As, I mean, one more Q might have killed Armeo with the Elder buff.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage. LYON just trying to hold on now, trying to clear out these waves as best as they possibly can. And Rahel, of course, that stasis is so valuable against Syndra ult, right? Because you can fully immune that once that comes out, and that's what he's going to be looking to do. Rahel pushing forward, they do not want to allow LYON the luxury of just delaying this out. It is going to be still another wave or two on this Elder buff, and then that will be expiring. Sentinels backing off and looking like they're not going to go for any sort of an end just now. Are just accepting that they've dealt some damage, they put themselves into a pretty good spot, and they will go forward in the game. I
mean, absorbing the Elder Baron double buff and only losing 1 inhibitor would be a very big accomplishment, which is kind of where it's going. Maybe they'll get bottom tier 2 with their next push. Let's do a check-in, though, because remember previously when Saint was at 30,000 damage and Rahel was at 21,000 damage? Let's see what he did in that last fight, because that's about 17,000 damage since our last check-in for Rahel. Rather impressive that Saint's at 41K, to be honest, as well. He's been smurfing in this game, but the real story here is in the gold. Rahel, 20,000 gold this game. A lot of it is bounty gold. You have to be so careful with your leads in 2026 because of the bounty system, and it's successfully
Rahel's going to get caught, though. Does pop the stasis. Was hit by a scatter over the wall. Saint going to get pushed back by the ult from Hui, and now Armeo pays the iron price. In comes Impact on the ulti, and Sentinel's going to keep pushing here. They still have 50 seconds on the Baron, and that is a 5v4. Another scatter does land from Saint. Trying to stabilize here, but that is a big pick and a big survival there from Rahel.
That's why you invest in the Seeker's Arm Guard, just in case, because he got hit by the scatter. And there's no Mikhails on his team, there's no cleanse, needed to be able to live through that. Still, the Hextech Soul's never going away, so it's very dangerous anytime they try and approach. They got to be afraid of Hexgate flanks as well, but staying grouped, moving into the jungle so they can play around these Anivia walls as best as possible.
Absolutely, and it is about a 6,000 gold lead for Sentinels, but that is, pretty much evened out by the Soul. It is going to be pretty even. We can see a lot of MRs now being purchased up, right? So Hombach did go for the Death Stance as kind of expected, but now he gets a Maw after that. We can see Darkwings is going towards a Banshee's Veil. We can see Impact is working towards a Maw of his own. We already touched on the Maw from Rahel. There's the Canik Rookern. There's all of these tools. And yes, there is double Void Staff, but still, that is a lot of MR. It is going to be very efficient. And Dokla, who had a pretty massive lead and it felt like the game was going to be about him, has not been about him. And at this point in the game, there's more than enough damage. Just focus him down. Berserker, though, finds a Petrifying Gaze onto Hombach. Is going to try to chase him with the Rylai's on the other side. Hui getting low. Hombach tries to re-engage. Isles comes in with a Stand United. There's the flash out. And in comes Dokla. It's the Zhonya's getting popped, but it's Hui killed over the wall. It's Saint going to be knocking one down. Hombach incredibly low. Can't finish Berserker. Impact tries to ult out. Does get stopped. Armeo popping back up with a GA, but he is just knocked out of the air there by Darkwings. At the end of the day, it is a 2 for 2. It looked like it might have been a LYON stop, but Sentinels use the stasis, use the summoner, survive, and keep it even.
And it's just the poor support jungles that die at the end of the day. Rahel untouched by that initial engage. I think that's really going to be what will decide this game, is whether or not they can get their fingers on Rahel somehow. If it's actually Rahel who can get hit by maybe an Isles taunt, now with no flash, which is going to make it nearly impossible, because that was a really good look for LYON, and it ended up being a tie.
Yeah, ended up being a tie there. It did look like a really good engage, and they got some important summoners, of course. They got the flash off Hambach, of Impact, off Darkwings, off Huhi, but
Huge.
They spent some big summoners themselves. 3 of their own flashes are down. Saint and Berserker do hold on to their flashes, and it is worth pointing out, Rahel did not go for the upgraded Zonias, instead swaps to a GA.
Yep.
So he is going to be on the GA now. And we can see Darkwings going in for the mandate, so kind of interesting. Getting a little bit of tech there, as that just a late game support item. Obviously does have the percentage damage amp when you do land CC, which can be very valuable in these late game scenarios where Rahel is just doing so much damage.
Yeah, it's the way you can support Rahel to just do even more damage, give him that little bit of extra damage amp. Nice wall there by Darkwings. There's no summoner spells on Dokla. They want to be careful not to overcommit, though.
Yeah, and the Elder's going to spawn, and Dokla has no TP, so he's going to have to go back to base now. Darkwing's being so annoying.
Wow.
The axe does connect, but it just pops that verdant barrier here. And Dokla feels like he can't go back to base. He's got to stay around, but he is going to be starting this fight at about 30% HP. And again, Darkwings finds him, just whittling him down. He's got to pop the ulti and go, but I don't think he wins this 1v1. In comes the Stand United. They're trying to keep him alive. The egg gets popped, and he's still alive.
He's alive.
Rahel is kiting. Rahel is fighting. He's trying to knock down Dokla. And on the side, Armeo is dying to Hambach. Impact coming in, looking for the reinforcements. Dokla again survives as another Death Dance proc comes through. I cannot believe that he is still alive, but their base is in shambles. The Supers are working on the Nexus, and at the end of the day, it's again another 2 for 2. Dokla, against all odds, stays standing, but LYON have got to go back and defend their base, and Sentinels get another Elder.
That was insane. For all the attention that was spent on Dokla, who he headshot Saint with the solar flare, and then Kled was able to run him down. That was the real carry for LYON, which is probably why Sentinels was still able to win the extended fight. When Saint wasn't there to do the damage, and Dokla was doing damage, but kind of running around, barely trying to stay alive, didn't even proc his Guardian Angel. The second Elder of the game goes over to Sentinels, and now yet another Baron will be going over to Sentinels. What a wild game.
I mean, this is crazy. That was incredibly close. I thought that fight was going to start and Dokla was just going to die through the Stand United, and it was going to look horrible, but the fact that he survives, he keeps getting the resets with the Death Dance, you know, cleansing all of that delayed damage.
Yep.
He's able to egg Darkwings, take him out. That made it so much closer, and had they not gotten that kill on a Saint, I think that LYON would have taken that fight. So a pretty critical pick there from Huhi.
Yeah, beautiful ultimate now. Still deathless on the Ezreal is Rahel, with Baron and Elder, and an inhibitor on both the top and bottom lanes, but no supers, crucially, yet. Let's see if they can do something on this push with all the buffs in the world.
Yeah, Armeo lost 30% of his HP to one Ezreal Q with that true damage burn, and they're going in on a Dokla. Dokla's just going to try to turn and fight, pops the Ragnarok, but he doesn't have the damage at this point. It feels like he gets walled off, and the Elder execute is going to be coming. Does get knocked down into the GA, and Hambach goes in for Isles. Isles pops the heal. Armeo trying to re-engage with the Cataclysm, but Berserker and Saint can do nothing. A great scatter over on a Huhi. He is low. Hambach is low, but he does not fall. They retreat into the fountain. Impact trying to get in there and finish him off, but he falls. The Stand United keeps him alive, but the Nexus is being targeted, and I think it's going to go down. Rahel and Darkwings take down the Nexus, break the undefeated streak from LYON, and win game 1.
So I wonder what the next find is. Is it like multiple bans, or is it just a rolling? Because maybe one ban is worth it for LYON if they feel like they're going to make playoffs anyway. But exactly. I'm happy that something happened. It's also just more fuel for my argument that Inspired would never let
them be late.
Not a single time where they issued a delay of game warning with Inspired in the jungle chair. Where was Armeo? He was the delay of game.
Ooh.
So
our takes are crumbling. You know, Armeo went from the king, and now he's just another guy.
As much as I'm joking, there is a hint of seriousness. I am now a little bit concerned about LYON going into Mexico City, and I still think this is a very winnable series for Sentinels. It's felt like all of these series had or have been winnable for teams playing against LYON without Inspired, but the individual performances of these LYON guys has just been so amazing. Dokla's the best top laner in the league in lane, which I think, again, he was last game. Saint was super far ahead of the curve of the game on the Syndra, but this last game, I am willing to kind of shake it off of your line because they were like 6,000 gold ahead, and it was a bounty extravaganza that Rahel got from the Baron play, which he then went on to carry the game from. And that's a bit niche to be able to recreate that if you're Sentinels.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I mean, I think they played it out very, very well. And it is funny because I talked about the Varus game from Impact where he just relentlessly fed and then won the game. And, you know, he has this like 100% Varus win rate. And now he brings out Kled and he wins on the Kled.
He does.
And it's so funny to me because it does not look like he is comfortable in these champions at all. But then you look at the win rate and yeah, he won again.
I mean, Impact has probably, I'm going to go with this stat. I made it up, but I'm sure it's true. The most wins of all time after falling 30 CS down.
Completely unverifiable,
almost
but
guaranteed.
I'm going to agree.
It's like 20 or 30. I think even back to his first title on Team Liquid, I remember he was like, they just blind pick him Maokai top into like some days Gnar. He'd go down 50 and they 3-0 him. And that, I just feel like he's the best player with a gargantuan goal deficit in the world. He's so good at it.
They're orchestrating it to get him into that
It's not
deficit.
intentional.
Yeah.
He's going to prefer to play without the gargantuan goal deficit, but he's
that's
good
his
at
comfort zone.
it. That's his comfort
He's
zone.
like, what is happening? I'm not
They're
under my tower.
investigating. Leo's investigating.
What do I do? I'm
Leo.
at his tower. Do I hit it?
The stats for Leo, request. If 30 isn't true, keep trying out the numbers until it's true. Like, I just want to know what the CS
You don't want to
difference
know.
is.
You just want to fudge the numbers.
I just want to find the stat that works.
Just want to, you know, never let the truth get in the way of a good story. That's what I always say. So
It helps
we are.
because he's played the most games of all players. He's played for longer than any other player, so it's likely to be true.
I will say, if LYON were to lose a game with Olaf, Cassio, and Syndra, and Inspired was here, this is the kind of draft he'll make them play the next game. He's like, you know what? Berserker, back to a hyper carry. Saint, you're scaling. Chill out. Double shields for our Yunara. We're going late, and we're team fighting.
Berserker couldn't carry on Cassio. None of these silly mages, this Cassio, this Jace stuff. I love it, what LYON has done. Back to the problem at hand. Jhin priority has been rising around the world, and I've always loved Jhin with Rumble, and then a mage in the mid lane that can do a lot of damage. They'll need to find a little bit more physical damage, which will likely come from the jungle. They'll never run triple AP. And then they're just completely fine. I just love those combo of champions.
Yeah, it's very, very strong. They definitely are looking for some of that CC. I'm thinking of like Rel ban, you know, champions along those lines, Nautilus ban, you know, things that are you know, easy, point and click, CC, set up for the Jhin, set up for the Deadly Flourish, set up for the Equalizer, as well as the Chaos Storm coming through from Victor. So, you know, you're expecting those bans on that side, and then on the other side for Sentinels, you're expecting protection bans for Impact in this top lane matchup, and Cassante going to be taken away. Tanks generally are the answer to Rumble these days, unless people want to get really spicy. You know, we'll see if there are going to be additional tank bans, but really it just feels like the other tanks have all kind of fallen out of the meta besides Cassante in a lot of ways. So
they really have. We don't see Sion or Ornn hardly ever.
Yeah.
We were seeing a lot of like Galio and Ornn into Rumble 6 months to a year ago, but that's definitely fallen behind. Just the pace of the game has gotten so fast in a lot of these cases, not to mention when you do have mage bot lanes, having that tank top lane makes your comp not work. Now, not going to be a problem here with Yunara Lulu, so maybe there is a world where he can play a tank with the Cassante band.
Yeah, definitely a possibility. They do ban out that Wukong in one of those good physical damage engage junglers. They want to take away from Armeo because, of course, LYON needs engage as well. It is not just Sentinels. You can play fully to just kite, and that missing ban, of course, is intentional. As we said, that was the punishment for the delay of game, so we will never know if they wanted to ban something like the Rel. The Karma does surprise me quite a lot. They are going to be playing heavily for that 2v2. I did really think it was going to be hard engage, Rel, Nautilus, whatever.
Yeah.
They were going to play that style, but now they are severely lacking on lockdown and engage, but they do have a much stronger 2v2, so they have to make the most of that.
This is the most throwback draft. Like, we need to scale. After not being able to close the giant gold lead ever, they are doing the Ornn into the Rumble.
This is like the TSM, when TSM got the playoffs draft, you know? It's like, all right, guys, that Cassio bot, that Olaf top, that's a privilege, and you can lose it by losing a game.
It's also 2018 TL draft with double lift, right? It just if Impact was Dokla, that's what would be happening.
Basically every roster with double lift. As soon as they lost the game in playoffs, all right, guys, I think we should play carry bot and tank top.
Yeah, year-end draft is like, what should I pick top lane? I could go Jace, or I think Ornn looks good.
Yeah.
I think Maokai looks good.
Maokai jungle's looking nice here, too.
Yeah, and a Trundle, holy moly. The Trundle would have been a great pick for Hambach, so it's a good takeaway. But this is so slow for LYON. This team comp is so ridiculously slow. If he just locks Qiyana here, I feel like that's so good into the Trundle and would combo with the Rumble. He had an insane Qiyana performance in week 1.
Yeah, it would be pretty exciting. That is kind of that old school combo.
Okay, Kha'Zix instead. Just some assassin jungler.
Okay, wow. He actually locked the Kha'Zix. That is insane. That is some crazy behavior. In my view, you are solo dive against a Lulu and you're going to lock Kha'Zix? You are getting polymorph, brother.
I thought he was going to go Qiyana, but, you know, he's feeling the Kha'Zix. He's looking at the Trundle and Ornn and saying, I can go Kha'Zix here. Maybe he's not looking at the Lulu.
Yeah.
He's a little less at the Lulu.
I mean, you can probably win the duel against the Trundle if you get the jump for sure. But that is going to be difficult to actually deal with polymorph, I think.
Remember when we were talking about Impact's Kled win rate? He's now 4-6 on Kled, and I made the statement that he's the best player in the world when he's down 30 CS or more 15. Not quite. Leo found the stats so fast. So Impact has the 3rd best win percentage. 63%, by the way, when down 30 CS or more at 15 minutes. That's insane. But minimum 10 games played. There are some people in Twitch chat that called this correctly.
I love the people that are ahead of them.
Dyrus and Danny have an 80% win rate when down 30 CS at 15.
That was the Dyrus Classic.
That's crazy.
That was the TSM meme for so many years. It's just like Camp Dyrus, everyone sends too much to Dyrus, then they'd win. And Danny was just like the chosen one in team fights. This guy actually was just Neo in team fights. It didn't matter what the early game happened at all. He'd just show up to a 5v5 and they could be down 5k and you were watching Danny, you're like, I think they win here.
I think Leo's, if he increased the minimum number of games to like 30, Impact is #1 again. But I like the call. I bet you that was 10 games that Dyrus was down 30 CS or more.
Impact does have more games than Danny.
It happens way more to Impact.
We need to fudge the numbers even more. Quick.
I'm happy with that. You can close this book.
This is quite the scaling comp for LYON. I would say they outscale in all 5 roles. Victor Ori is probably arguable, but yeah, I like their scaling in literally all 5 roles. They do have an incredibly strong team fight. Kha'Zix is a banger, and I will say, I like when teams take risks when you are up against a favorite team, when you are the underdogs. It's time to go for some stuff, and congratulations to Hui. We were just talking about Double Lift. Double Lift, it's time to unretire, buddy, because Hui just passed you. 329 career LCS game wins, passing Double Lift for 5th all time.
Apparently a bunch of people have been talking to Double Lift lately about if he's going to come back, which is really funny. He did the retirement home tournament. He played in the League Classic show match. Not to mention...
That's how you get prepared for LCS.
I did it, and Hui never gives up. They brought this back as well. This was an old graphic for when they were super far behind against Cloud9. And in comms, he's like, guys, it's a one-fight game. Boom! Back to victory. That just happened. He didn't hear no bell.
This was, yeah, exactly from last split. They were this team that had been able to make some crazy comebacks happen. And again, they do last game. They were down, I want to say 5-6K, and they lost Soul. And that is a wild game to win against an undefeated team in LYON. And Dark Wings is clapping Sane up right now in that 1v1. The CS pretty even, but those trades are going heavily in Darkwing's favor.
And it's probably really nice for Sentinels to have this comeback win, because I'd say last week against Shopify, they kind of had the opposite, where they were ahead and couldn't close that game as Armeo's going in. And this was the game that they had last week against Shopify, game 3. They're ahead. Contracts just walked up and took Baron, and then they lost the series off of that. If that happens, they're 2-1, feeling a lot different about their season right now, and they need to be able to turn it around here against LYON. Yeah, this was crazy Baron steal. Under Nocturnal just walks up.
What you're telling me is that Sentinels are the impact of teams. They need to be behind to become more powerful, you know? The critical error in that game was not the steal. It was being ahead in the first place.
It's true. I got an update that Liam cherry-picked my stat request to make my statement wrong, because he did minimum 10 games. Hui and Dyrus and Danny had only been down 30 CS in 10 games. If you make minimum games 11, #1 is Impact again.
But I like that he included Danny and Dyrus because it's a fun throwback.
It's a really fun fact.
Ooh, Hambach already at level 4 here. Going to just hop over the pillow, and Armeo has got to leave. That is not your scuttle, brother. And he is going to have to retreat back up towards the Krugs. But Kha'Zix is just going to keep chasing him. And this is one of the difficulties when you do pick 3 losing lanes and all this scaling, well, the jungler's going to be in your face.
These drafts usually are completely illegal. It's 3 losing lanes and a trundle. It's just so much pain in the early game, but if you win one team fight on like 3rd Drake, you just auto win the game. So it's one of those, like, do you have the discipline to not take risks while not ceding way too much that it becomes unwinnable? And then on the side of Sentinels, like, the pressure is absolutely on them to take the correct risks, because one failed dive, one overreach can also do the same thing as what a 3rd Drake fight would do.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I feel like in these games, stacking dragons early is the name of the game for Sentinels, right? That is the way you put pressure on a scaling comp.
Yeah.
If you allow LYON to get one random early dragon, then all of a sudden that 3rd Drake comes too late, right? And the threat of soul comes too late. They're often on their items and they can win. And I will say, while it is very difficult to pull off that style, LYON, I think, is the team that, you know, over the last year with Inspired has been the best in the league at playing that style. You know, they were famous in Split 2, you know, and in Split 1 even, for being a team that traded, you know, you take Dragon, well, we take top tower, we take a plate, and we extend that gold lead, then we show up to the fight and we nail it. And again, Impact here is struggling in the 1v1 early against Dokla, does lose his flash.
He got greeted a little bit, realized that that was a kill angle if he gets hit by that charge, and had to flash away. Still hasn't based, sitting on his TP. Also, Hambach pathing down, probably for this early Drake. Interesting, he didn't do the Gromp. Instead, I mean, he would have to wait 40 seconds if he wanted to get the extra treat to get his empowered smite. So I think he's just going to clear these grubbies really quick and then not go for the upgraded smite scuttle play.
Yeah, I'm not going to go for that yet for sure. But we will see where he heads after, we're assuming a recall, but Berserker going to be going forward. He's just looking for Rahel. Rahel has already used his barrier. The barrier used by Berserker flashes forward. Can't finish him off, but now Hambach is here and he has his flash. Flash in, first blood for the Kazakhs. And that is an out of mana Lulu. Gonna have to flash to safety. Barely avoids the Kazakhs W, but does not avoid the deadly flourish from Rahel. It's 2 kills for Sentinels. They're up 2,000 gold in 5 minutes.
Just like that, CS advantage. Top, jungle, mid, bot, support, and 2-0 on the scoreboard. It's the start they need for a comp like this, but I will say, like, he did that investment. It's going to delay the Drakes a little bit. This was close. Berserker saw it in his eyes. Nice match flash there by Rahel. Nice match flash by Huhi. Then no barrier, no flash, no heal. Makes it an incredibly easy gank for Hambach, who arrives in the nick of time. And then right here, line it up. He's against the wall. And I think he was waiting for the cooldown. Blind shot. Wow. Nicely done.
Tags him and does get that double. And Golden Blue is pumped up. That is huge for them. And Sentinels, you know, they are in a position where they need every win to be able to secure themselves a spot in playoffs. They're by no means guaranteed. Lost a critical match against Shopify, and as a result, they put themselves in a bit more of a difficult position. And their next opponents here that they have coming up, it's going to be some really important games as Alt are traded back and forth. They have FlyQuest, DSG, and C9. So not the easiest opponents remaining either. You know, DSG is maybe an expected win, but Fly and C9 are going to be tough. And if you win here, that puts you in a much better spot. You know, 3 wins should get you to playoffs. So if they win this, they really just have to beat DSG, and they're very likely in playoffs. You know, maybe not mathematically locked or anything like that, but good chance. But if they lose this, then you've got to at least beat probably, you know, the FlyQuest or C9.
And FlyQuest GSG are both next week because they're not going to be going to Mexico City, so they're playing their extra game next week as well. And having the momentum of a win against LYON would be huge. While we were talking about the strength of schedule, since Armeo had used Smite on the Scuttle Crab, he didn't have Smite. Hambach could just do the invade, steal a couple additional camps away. But it is potentially questionable. After that steal, I think they probably could have taken a Drake. It's still up. We're talking about putting the soul pressure onto LYON. 7.5 minutes, still not the first Drake. Some small things going well for LYON in that case.
Yeah, not going to be able to get that early dragon.
Is that hit? Oh, no.
Ooh, just barely out of range, but Isles does get tagged by that 4th shot of the ultimate, and it's super low. As is Berserker, and Huhi and Rahel are just punishing them after that early gank from Hambach. It looked like they had a window where they might have been able to potentially get a kill. Armeo also spotted out here, and Hombach is going to be there for the counter gank. Ulti going to get popped by Dokli. He's going to redirect it onto the Kha'Zix just to try to get out, but Berserker is going to root it up. Tries to turn around. There's the polymorph over on Rahel. They're looking to burst him down. The shield comes back up, but it doesn't matter. Berserker is surviving. Berserker gets us another shield and a double from such a disadvantageous position. LYON's bot lane makes magic happen.
They had barrier heal back up, and Rahel and Huhi just ran out of damage. Didn't even have the level 6 Lulu ultimate, but it was still enough through the Lulu E, the heal, and the barrier to just out-damage them. That is so big for them to scale into the late game, especially with no Drake taken yet.
And it's so impressive to be able to see that angle. They were actually way down on HP, and they just recognized, hey, you went too far. You're going to get polymorphed. I have way more consistent DPS. You go in with the ult, you chase him down, and they punish that play. And now Saint in trouble. 3 members here. Catches the wild growth. Has to flash out anyway. Armeo in the area. Sentinels with a good punish there on a pretty dangerously placed TP from Saint.
Yeah.
Which I always feel like those TPs are kind of silly because really it saves you like a second. You could just TP to the tower and then that never happens.
I completely agree. There's also that one time though, they TP to the tower, they lose 1 minion, they don't hit level 6 first, they die, they're like, I gotta get the experience. Yeah. But in this case,
the risk versus war just never seems good to me.
It's not. His condition was better than Darkwings though, which means Darkwings does have to TP back as well, and the Dragon lives. 9 minutes, 30 seconds, still no Drake pressure. And if you say, okay, you get right side comp, left side comp, 9.5 minutes in, your 80 carries 500 gold up, but your team is 1,000 gold down, you take those.
Yep, you take right side comp for sure. And I think, you know, after that early couple kills, you're like, that's okay. They're up a couple thousand gold, so here it is one more time.
I mean, so Rahel has 4th shot, but then he takes a long time to re-roll, is polymorphed. Look how long it takes for him to get any ammo back. So it's just a poor calculation by Rahel to take that all in, and really smart by Berserker and Isles to say, like, if we just shield heal the 4th shot.
So bad and lucky.
Yeah. It is, yeah.
Bad and lucky, the classic. It's a very common phrase for LCS pros whenever something goes well for them, to say you're lucky and bad.
It is funny. But I got to give so much credit to Berserker and Isles. I don't even feel like I can criticize Rahel and Hui there, because I feel like almost no one looks for that all-in angle.
I guess, yeah.
Berserker was at 20% HP before the heal came in, and he's like, nope, you're dead. And just, you use the 4 shot, there's the reload, there's the polymorph, there's the heal, the barrier, the consistent DPS, and they calculated it out just right. And for me, that is perfect champion mastery. Like, that is such an understanding of a matchup like this that almost everyone gets chunked low there and just bases.
And they're getting the first Drake.
Now it's a little tough.
It's feeling like Inspired Spirit is in this game, even if Inspired is not.
And Hombach is
scaling and taking it slow.
That big gold lead, and that still exists. That's still nice, but again, you are going to have to deal with the polymorph potentially later on. Dokla getting put pretty low. Of course, you do have the ult, you have the invisibility to try to make the life difficult for Isles, but the problem is Isles is an incredible Lulu, and what's going to happen is anytime you jump forward, you're going to get wild growth while you're in the air, and then you're going to get polymorphed out of it, and you can't really react to that. So unless you stealth in like this, can be tough. Dokla going to get taken down though. Hombach, 2,000 gold ahead of his counterpart now, has used this matchup really well. He is up almost 2 entire levels and will be up 2 full levels after he takes this camp, as Armeo is close to 8, but Hombach's almost 10.
It's interesting. If this beast of a Kha'Zix is in your solo queue game and he's starting 31 CS up and 2 kills, I feel like you think he's going to carry the game. But in organized play with LYON tier team fighting, I think it's going to be a lot harder. Hombach has not prioritized objective control, instead prioritized the objective of getting himself gold. And we'll see if he's able to carry this game, because that's the position he's put himself in. Yeah,
exactly. No, I mean, I completely agree, right? If this is solo queue, the Kha'Zix is probably one-shotting your Yunara, and then you're FFing, right?
Because at some point, he finds him in a side lane, he's dead.
And Saint might be getting one shot right here, as there's the jump in. Nice shockwave to peel for himself, but Saint has no flash from that earlier look towards mid. Darkwings grabs the kill, but it's set up very well by Hombach and Huhi. But again, as you're saying, in organized play, it's so different. The coordination and the CC can make it so tough. If you jump in Wild Growth, into Polymorph, into Ornn Knockup, into you know, all of these tools, you might just die before you do anything, because Kha'Zix is not a tanky champ, but we are up to a 3.6K gold lead. So despite that double kill down on the bot side, the gold lead went from over 2K down to 1,500 and then back up to 3,500.
I can gank. Yeah.
He's no flash.
Guys, low chance, Yunara can open mid.
Yeah, he's dead.
He's dead.
Nice.
Yeah, nice gank there, but as we were talking about how LYON is scaling, like, it really just, the gold lead ballooned, and it's because it all started with the top play. So Hanbok had essentially full cleared his jungle, ran top, killed Dokla, but then as that happened is when Armeo was arriving to his top side. So Armeo had to seed all of his top side camps to the Kazakhs, then mid lane dies. So it wasn't just Hanbok running around and getting kills, it was the entire top side of LYON also not getting gold during that time period. And it's really blown this game open. This would be unplayable if not for the 2 kills on Berserker.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's still a very, very difficult position. I mean, Dokla lost plates as well off of getting killed there, and now Hui is back towards topside again. Sentinel's doing a good job pushing this game forward, and Armeo has been completely stifled. He is just hitting level 9 as he soaks some lane experience from the minions, but Hanbok is already level 11 and going to be close to that second item, 2.5K ahead. He's going for lethality items, so he is going to be a real problem, but they're going to try to rush down this tower, get first tower gold, which would be a boon for LYON. Trundle, one of the best champions of the game at actually killing towers with the W attack speed plus the Chomp working on it, and they do beat out Impact and claim that first tower. Well, Dokla's just playing safe, knowing Kazakhs is up there. He's having to give up even more minions, so Dokla is getting starved pretty heavily as a result.
No
Could be tough.
Really.
Here comes Hanbok again. He does that flash, but I don't know if it matters. There's the flash, but the flash response is available from Hanbok. Finds Saint again in the mid lane, and he is dead. It's nearly a 3,000 gold lead for the Kazakhs.
And he's just going to continue to run around the map here.
The Deadly Flourish does connect there. Isles trying to dodge these shots.
Hanbok
is coming, and he is spotted. Armeo there trying to buy some time. Does pillar out Hanbok.
Oh my god.
But they're going to have to give up the bot lane tower. They're going to have to give up jungle camps. This is just completely out of control. Sentinels are stomping LYON.
It's the camps, to me. Armeo is still sitting on his hatchling. He hasn't hatched his smite yet. We're 15 minutes into the game.
He's 3 full levels down. That is crazy.
Objective bounties are available soon. That's good for LYON. Because, you know, a few little bounties here and there, little slingshot effect, but my goodness. They are smashing this right now.
So this is one more time. This is Berserker was going for Dark Wings. That was the trade of flashes that was off screen. Berserker might have had him, but the flash response was there, of course, and that does let him get away. And Hanbok just had a monster buy as well. He had the pieces of Cyclosword, buys Cyclosword, plus another Serrated Dirk. Hui, though, could be in a little trouble, does have the flash, and is not afraid whatsoever, as Berserker is missing flash and ulti. So that's going to make it tough for him to follow up.
My goodness, 52 CS advantage in the jungle. Hanbok now getting the Drake because he 2-shots it with his 2.5 full lethality items. It's still going to be that waiting game. At this point, you're kind of just hunting bounties, as Darkwings does have one and no flash.
Yep, no flash, and I don't think you're getting out of this one. The pillar is still there and available. Armeo gets 600 gold for his troubles, visits that top side, and they are going to have still a lot of time to chill and scale because Sentinels took no early dragons. That was their first dragon of the game here at 16 minutes. So as long as LYON don't keep chain dying, they do still have some real chances here, but Armeo going to get stealthed on, and Hanbok jumps in, flash away, but there is the leap in from Hanbok, asserting his dominance as Dokla has got a TP back to base.
Yeah. Oh, wait, the Kazakhs is behind me. I want none of this smoke. Just get me out immediately. Hanbok has lived in the jungle of Armeo. This is a very difficult game for him to survive in, but he has a 2-item Yunara and kind of nothing else. Everything else he needs to play around. This is all on Berserker Isles, it really feels like.
What you're telling me is they might need a little more gas. So they should go to the Gas South Arena in Atlanta, Georgia from October 3rd to 4th. Tickets are on sale. I said LYON was going to be there. Wasn't a very hot take before. Still don't think it is, but it's maybe slightly hotter. And I still believe we will see them, even though they're struggling in this series.
That's true. All gas, no breaks for Hanbok this game, for sure.
Sometimes the problem with that is when you don't have breaks, there's a wall in front of you. Sometimes you run right into it and you die, which could happen in one team fight here for LYON. They got a lot of time to scale. They are grouping up, they are pushing in, and they are still getting a lot of farm on their carries, 10 CS per minute for Saint, and above that for Berserker. So they have their gold, and they are going to be protected here by Isles.
They really will be. I need to check on this. You check on the gold. Berserker's pretty rich,
yep.
right? You're not noticing it because Rahel's got a lot of gold as well, but 8.4 total K. 10K gold on Kha'Zix, still very impressive. And then early on in the game, Darkwings and Impact, mostly just lane damage. We haven't really seen the team fighting start.
Yeah, I mean, his teammates are poor boys, but Dokla is scaling. He just hit 13.
The Ornn upgrades don't show up on the objective bounties either.
Exactly. He just got that first Ornn upgrade, and so every level coming in now, he's going to be having those upgraded items for his team, which is an additional 1K or so in stats, so is pretty powerful in and of itself, and that is where things can get difficult as the game just slows down. LYON can give up this dragon, and honestly, they can even give up the next dragon if they feel like it's that difficult of a situation, which is going to buy them a ton of time. But Herald's going to be dropped here. Pillar will be there to answer it, so a bit of a bold drop as Armeo should be able to block this out. Impact coming on the side, though, and potentially looking to set up a dive, but doesn't really feel like there's an angle.
Yeah, Herald has been stuffed. With Hambach at 60% health, it's an ambitious one.
Yeah, the curtains are going to get called. The equalizer is dropped. They are getting this tower low. Might eventually do take it down. Darkwings gets shockwave there by Saint. Put low. Hambach is low as well. Armeo trying to set up his team. 4-shot used there as Huhi gets poked out. And now Dokla arrives, and Impact is on the wrong side of the map here, trying to run away. Going to call the Ornn horn down. Does get the knockup, but Hambach is there. The rest of the team isn't really with him to follow up, so it's kind of much ado about nothing, as it is that ult traded out, but not going to be able to get the kill. They do defend their mid lane tower, though, and keep that gold about where it was.
I think that was just a nice defense overall by LYON. Anytime they can work through kind of a full cycle of ultimates from Sentinels, Curtain Call, and Equalizer both being used, not even lose their turret, also absorb the Rift Herald, and then they still move to catch their waves. They didn't lose a huge number of minions on either the top or the bot lane. All they need to do to buy that time.
Yep, just keep on scaling. Third item, though, comes through here for Hambach. Edge Knight now completed. Impact working in towards that Zhonya, so he's going to have that up and available. Rahel did go for the Ghost Blade, now has that Collector, and you can see Berserker probably going in for his next item here. We'll see where he wants to go for it, but does have a BF in inventory and does have that Ardent Sensor Lulu to buff him up, so he's, of course, even stronger than he's showing, and you're expecting the Dokka will give him his first upgrade here that he's going to have ready in another wave or two as he hits 14.
For sure, and I'm seeing some of these comments. Bit of a jungle gap, jungle diff. In defense of Armeo, you got 3 losing lanes, you got blind picked Trundle, and then the other jungler went full solo queue, ignored objectives, and played Kha'Zix to play for your camps. So it's kind of what happens. I think it's very difficult to actually play Trundle in this game. It's just about, he's only died once. Can he still keep his head, not die additional times, and be there to help peel his Yunara in teamfights? That's Armeo's job in this game.
Yeah, completely agree. It's a very difficult position to be in. Even if you have a decent jungle matchup, if you have 3 losing lanes, it is very hard to play the game, and at pro level, even more so. And then he has a horrible 1v1 matchup against this Kha'Zix, and Hambach has played it really, really well. I think he's excellent at this sort of style. Hambach does just go in, playing with fire a little bit, shoots at the Void Spikes, and then just leaps back to safety. But of course has his flash available, has the ulti for the invis available, so it's not really an angle there for LYON to go in, and I think this dragon will just be seeded as they continue to play the side lanes. Grab as much farm as possible, grab as much experience as possible, as the equalizer are going to get dropped, and Isles forced to flash. Curtain's going to get called, tries to sidesteps the first, and now is going to get blocked up here by Berserker and Armeo. They will take the mid lane tier 1. Armeo potentially in some trouble.
Drops the pillar.
Might have to flash out. Definitely has to flash out. Dokla coming back in. Stasis going to be used there by Impact as the teleport is now coming in from Saint. Saint arrives here. Can't really find much of anything. Again, it is just about buying time, but the gold lead extends ever so slightly above 6K.
And one Drake closer to Soul Point as Hambach picked that up at the start. Armeo's flash literally came off cooldown. I would actually imagine that Sentinels was probably calling no flash Trundle, thinking that that was going to be a kill before he was able to flash to safety. And then Saint, weirdly enough, probably just wants that teleport back, because I don't think that play was going to continue, and he could have continued to collect plates on the top side for himself. Yeah,
absolutely agree. Maybe thought that they were going to be overcommitting, looking for a dive, and you're kind of picturing yourself TPing in, hitting a shockwave and turning it, but either way, they do get that TP off of Saint here, and they do have just 1 TP apiece available. Both those top laners do have theirs up and available, and even though Impact did use his Stasis, it was the Broken Seekers, and now he upgrades towards that Zhonya, so his Zhonyas will be good to go once again.
Yeah, slightly defensive build going Zhonya's second rather than third, but Doesn't want to give over a bounty, I would imagine.
Oh, here comes Dokla, probably looking for that upgraded Infinity Edge. Berserker did complete that.
Yeah.
Dokla just got 14, so I'm assuming he is going to put all the eggs in the Berserker basket where they belong, but it's going to get interrupted, and out comes the Equalizer. Dokla has the steering charge away to safety, so that will get interrupted, and he will have to try once more to upgrade that Ornn item.
Yeah. Ask Berserker, did you put it in the right slot? Slot 1? Yes, okay. Upgrade.
There you go.
And they got it. They did it successfully. Mechanic executed. 103 attack damage from the Super Infinity Edge.
Yeah, it's a lot of extra stats here, extra AD, as the Kazakh's going to get found on the side. Hambach has got to jump to safety, shielded up there by Huhi. Rahel with the 4th shot ready, but no angle to really use it. As Impact pushed out bot lane, the lanes are pushing in the favor of Sentinels, and you can see that reflected in the gold again. It was 5K for a long time, broke 6K. We're now almost at 7,000 here as Impact's lead is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Dokla is just kind of chain grouping, can't really play through sides very much, and that is meaning this top lane advantage is there right alongside that jungle lead.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the whole lead.
That's pretty much the whole lead is the Rumble and the Kazakhs. And it's pretty hard at 24 minutes into the game to look at the jungler who's 4-0, 80 CS up, and 4,000 gold ahead and say, you know, maybe could have played better. But if you're focusing Drakes, Soul is coming up in like a minute. Whereas now we're 7 minutes away, and by 31 minutes, Berserker's probably 4 items. I think everyone has their ornaments. It feels like it's still going to be difficult for that. But I'd also say, like, Hambach probably isn't 4,000 gold up if he focuses the dragon. So it's a chicken or the egg thing right here. He's obviously played this game very well. But if Sentinels lose this game, I think they'll look back and say, okay, how could we have pressured Soul faster?
I think that's one of the most difficult things in League is when every play you do works, but you lose the game. Being able to evaluate, you know, was this the correct run of play? Because his invades were incredibly successful, right?
He's been so good.
And have worked really, really well. But it's true. If, you know, if they lose and Soul's too late and it bought too much time, well, maybe that was the wrong choice. It's really hard to know, though, because we'd be in a world where Armeo probably has way more gold and is way more relevant if he wasn't put so far down. So it's always interesting. Hambach again on the sides with the upgraded spike racks, just harassing them. Equalizer comes down. Curtain call as well. Dokla there to block the shots. Saint takes one to the back of the head, but Dokla blocking up most of that. And this is just buying time for Darkwings, pushing on that top side, collecting plates. They are now 7.6K ahead. Ornaments or not, this gold lead is getting worse and worse and worse here for LYON. They're just group 5 trying to force. And now there is no equalizer, there is no curtain call, and Huhi is in some trouble. Huhi's gonna get jumped off. Berserker flashes forward. Rahel is gonna get knocked down as well. That's 2 quick kills going their way. And now they're trying to dive onto Darkwings. Darkwings incredibly low, does fall. Dokla and Saint survive. It is 4 for 0, down 8K gold for LYON.
Bounties for everyone, but mainly Berserker playing that perfectly. An absolute psychopath flies through the turret to kill Rahel and Huhi, and then even after Darkwings teleports in, Berserker still lives. They collect all the bounties and are probably getting this Drake.
Impact has Equalizer. He just came back up. He's going to drop it. He is level 16, but I don't think there's a real angle in. Trying to be as annoying as possible, but you are 1v5. That is Baron. That is 5,000 nearly taking off the gold lead. And that is this game maybe slipping out of Sentinel's grasp.
Unbelievable fight there by LYON. Sentinels, with their big lead, was trying to split push. So Darkwings is top. And then LYON says, okay, once we see Kazakh clear that ward, you don't have enough damage at the turret. So we're just going to run in and kill you before Hambach can actually make his approach. Rahel and Huhi dead. Then the teleport arrives, and that's when Hambach tries to get in right onto a shockwave. Saint gets him, gets the full shutdown for his own Orianna, and they're first on this Drake. So Soul would be delayed until at least 37 minutes after LYON has that. That is all the time in the world for Berserker to keep getting items.
And they already have 3 ornaments that have come through, and I feel like they've already been outscaled at this point off of that one lost fight. I mean, it was really well played by LYON. They were hard forcing, and Sentinels didn't respect it. You know, not only is it the Kazakhs on the side that you pointed out, which is a really big deal, but it's also the fact that you spent Equalizer and Curtain Call and everything on the previous wave. And LYON spent nothing. They just walked away from it and then say, okay, great. You use your 2 most powerful teamfight ults. And you still are 4v5. We're just going to dive you.
Yeah, we're
you
not
have a
that
true
weak.
tank with Ornn. Ornn can just tank up the tower. Trundle can tank up the tower. They don't care at all. And so that was really well played. I mean, Dokla just marks the Kazakhs on the side, CCs him. Saint catches him with the shockwave, and now it is a 4,000 gold lead for Kha'Zix, who looks like he might be heading towards a defeat screen. We'll see if he can turn things around, who he's going to get caught out, but will be peeled for by the rest of the squad as Saint knocks down that top lane tier 1. Gold lead down to nearly only 3K. It is 2 dragons apiece, and with those ornaments that are through, it feels like LYON are equal, if not ahead in power, but there is always that chance. You know, if Kha'Zix can one-shot the Yunara, hey, you can win the game, but that is going to be really hard to pull off.
Yeah, and you can see it's not like LYON has won a bunch of team fights. They've really picked their moments, but it's been really for LYON like pure defense and then 2 moments of aggression. It was in the bot lane when Berserker and Isles got the 2v2 kill when Rahel and Huhi stepped up with Fort Shot, but they had heal barrier back and decided to all in. And it was that moment when they stepped up to the turret with Equalizer being down and went to all in. I think the bigger thing that we haven't talked about is Darkwings was pretty far ahead of Saint, but Saint got the Kha'Zix shut down as well as that mid turret, and now it's not just the Yunara. The Orianna has also scaled, which really puts LYON in a good spot.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. And this Ornn, behind gold or not, is not that easy to kill, right? You know, you do have the LDR done for Rahel, but he went Ghostblade Collector into LDR, so it's not like you are a 10-killing build. This is not Hex Optics, LDR, IE 3 items. This is a 3 items that just doesn't really hurt this tanky front line, and you can see they're just kind of shrugging off a lot of the damage here. Great shockwave pulls him out of the air. Beautiful by Saint. Ombak flashes, but there is the follow. Berserker comes in this side, goes on a rampage as Huhi is gonna fall as well. LYON roar to life. White Sentinels off the map, and we'll see if they just want to push to end the game.
That's no Baron, but I mean, they have 5 versus 2 and a cannon wave. It's hard to imagine Impact Rahel holding up another wave on the way as well.
And no Equalizer here for Impact, so this is going to be so hard to hold on. Sentinels felt like they were in control for 95% of this game, but the Polymorph is there. Another kill goes to Berserker. Dokla is just laughing in Rahel's face, flashes in on him, forces the flash out. Berserker flashing in, looking for another kill. Can't quite get it, but does get the Nexus. It's a big comeback from LYON as they showcase their talent in the team fight and send us to game 3.
The game was won in sub 30.
Yep.
Because they won the team fight mid, immediately won another team fight bot, and then pushed to end. So, like, I guess the feedback there is, let's just make sure Berserker can carry us until we can get inspired back in Mexico City.
I mean, Berserker was looking very frightening. That 2v2 kill after they got ganked by Kha'Zix and got double killed, I just don't think any other bot lane in our league even tried that. I think they all just spaced.
Yeah.
And I think that is so impressive to me. That is one of the most difficult to understand skills in League of Legends, I think, is just like, you see someone go for a play and it doesn't look like it was mechanically impressive, and you're like, well, why did it work? It's because they saw an angle that no one else saw, right? And that is something that I really kind of had hammered home for me when I had a kick where I was playing Tryndamere, right? I was playing a lot of Tryndamere.
Yeah.
And Tryndamere has like no mechanics. This champion is so simple. And I was really kind of like, okay, well, what really is the difference between the best Tryndamere player in the world and me, right? Because I can press the buttons in the same way. And the more I watched, the more I realized, oh my God, they just see all these dive angles that like I wouldn't have even tried, right?
Sure.
Like I wouldn't even realize. And it's like, oh, well, this guy is at exactly 85% HP and I'm this level with this item, and that means I can kill him under the tower with my ultimate. And it's just like, that to me is how it felt watching that Berserker Isles 2v2. And I just think that is a really underappreciated aspect of skill in League of Legends.
It's true.
This deep understanding that is required to even attempt to play, let alone pull it off.
Ooh, we might see a Shyvana from Armeo into the Nocturne as well, but I completely agree. I mean, that's how I used to feel on Old Udyr. Have you ever played that? A little bit less intense than Tryndamere.
I played Old Udyr a little bit.
He literally just waddled around, had no blinks. So it was only, do you know where you win and where you lose? And if you did, you could do very well in the game. Game's evolved since then, for sure.
But it's like Nunu and even Singed, you know, some of these champions that have no mechanics basically have these crazy mastery curves, which is basically the more games you play, the better you perform on the champion, because it is, as you're saying, about being in the right place rather than pressing the buttons in a competitive way.
It's almost, it's a little bit like just overall League of Legends mastery curve too with those champions. But it's not like Yunara is an easy champion. Berserker has all the mechanics, but then they also have that understanding. So.
Exactly. That's what makes Berserker Berserker, and us. As we're talking about mastering Old Udyr and Singed and stuff. That's where, you know, time comes for everyone eventually.
An 86% Season 1 win rate
on
Old Udyr.
That's big.
Rank 42 on the ladder at the end of the season, you know?
Huge. All right,
something.
Caitlyn and Bard for Sentinels here. Let's catch up on the draft a little bit, paired with that Nocturne. When you see Nocturne, you do expect to see a lot of dive paired alongside it. For now, no dive buddies just yet, but of course, Shyvana, great counter engage into the dive, is relatively tanky. The fear off the ultimate can be very, very nice, and as we know, Rise gets very tanky as well and can play through those side lanes, and sometimes if you time the Red Warp, you can escape before that fear tether comes through from Nocturne as well.
I mean, I'd expect Hanbok to go the standard Nocturne build, Hexblade into Stridebreaker into GA, but I would say in solo queue, one of the highest win rate junglers is Halo Blade's Lethality Propane Hydra Nocturne. With the way he played last game, you could see a window for it, but you'd have to really commit to that style, and currently there's not like a bunch of champs that he'd be able to ult onto, but just want to call it out because Hanbok has gotten really far ahead in some of these games in case it happens.
Yeah, absolutely has, and he's willing to play some of these risky champs. We saw Kha'Zix, we've seen Fury and Kiana and a number of different assassins come out, and he is very good at that style. The Vayne ban coming through here may just be setting up for a Gnar or a Renekton, something along those lines, and it is going to be an Annie ban, which I do quite like. I think it's a reasonable matchup into the Rise and a great pairing with the Nocturne. You don't see the Annie coming, it is hard to react to the Tippers, and so that is kind of the thought process there. PTA Azir also really becoming quite meta, and even some PTA Dusk and Dawn Azir is getting pretty popular these days as well, so that is going to be taken away from Dark Wings.
Saw Zinni do it yesterday, but the big catalyst for all that was just the Azir buffs, right? 15 damage at rank 1 on his Q, and it keeps that damage buff throughout
World's
all
time, baby.
ability.
Got to get that Azir buff in.
Whew, I missed him, man, so much. I really love seeing Azir. I'm glad he's back.
I don't know if you heard my whole crap about Corki.
Azir is less offensive than Corki.
Exactly.
Because he at least has the swoop in.
The swoop is the package.
It's the package.
Yeah. Imagine Azir with no swoop.
He'd be Corki.
He'd be Corki. He would.
Very
yes,
similar
he would.
to Corki.
They used to play against each other. Maybe we could put them both mid lane.
For those of you who missed this, you're basically saying most boring champion in pro play.
Yeah.
I think Sivir's also extremely boring.
It is. But
that was a good counter by me.
Looks cooler because I think spell shield moments can be cool, and also just like
I blocked your spell.
Yeah, if you block like a
that's just as cool as like dashing an ability with W or something on.
Nah, it looks cooler.
Okay. I know you're just going to counter. You practice this in your head. You're like, every single champion, I have a way of discounting them.
Honestly, it just came out. It wasn't really a practice thing. Just my rage for Corki built up, and then it came out. We're going to have Hwei as the answer here for Dark Wings.
And Doka locks Corki top.
We got MF Nautilus. A throwback combo here. Very combo-based. Berserker, not going to be able to carry in the same way. Not that he can't carry on the MF, but this is a champion that needs setup. And we will see where Doka wants to go. We have seen his Swain a couple times, and it is very good against dive, but there really isn't that much dive on this comp. Honestly, I'm pretty surprised by what they ended up with. When we first picked Nocturne, I thought we were seeing a very different comp, right? We have Caitlyn Hwei. This is like a Siege comp.
It's a poke comp.
It's like a Siege comp with a Nocturne randomly in there, because it is really good at controlling space when you do a trap line, and then you can also drop, I can't even remember the name of the ability because it's a million for Hwei, but basically you drop the little eye on the ground that roots you when you walk through. So it's really good at controlling space. But who's going in with Nocturne? Nocturne press ult and goes in, and then what flashes out?
The longest range Hwei ability, Severing Bolt. Yep, that's what's going in with him. Yep. He's going in with Severing Bolt and ace in the hole if no one is in the way.
Yeah, and maybe Xante's in there, but
I do feel like that happens a lot when you first pick Nocturne, because so much of draft still is just based off of response to lane matchups.
Yeah.
So they just ended up picking things that didn't dive well with the Nocturne as a response to the other things that they had to see in the draft. And I think it's kind of interesting on both sides, right? Berserker goes from that Yunara Lulu game to MF, which I've definitely seen him carry with before because they can be so dominant in lane phase and can control space in team fights, but it just doesn't have the same outplay potential as he would have had in the last game. So we're in for an interesting game 3 here.
Yeah, it will be interesting. I'm going to be curious to see how effective, Hanbok can be. I just feel like there's just a million plug-and-play AD junglers. So if Nocturne doesn't fit the bill, I mean, Nocturne is a strong jungler, has a great invade, has fast clear, but if you don't have dive buddies, I just feel like it's really hard to play in team fights. And I just feel like you can plug in almost any other AD jungler and then have a better chance of success, right? There's just so many of them in the game right now.
Yep. But if they have Nocturne Rise, you're in trouble. So there's different elements to that as well. I got the name of your your Hui Eye. It is Gaze of the Abyss. It is the EW.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know all the combos. I just don't know their names.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. But like there's, you know, the QE, that's Rumble Ult. I don't know what it's actually called.
Yep,
right?
Molten Fissure.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm
there's
cheating,
that.
I
I know
haven't
there's the QQ is the little like kind of like you shoot it out, there's a bolt.
Devastating fire.
There's Severing Bolt is QW. Like I know all the abilities. There's just too many names and they're not even cool, so I didn't have to learn them.
Yeah, I had a period of time where I thought I should just become a Hui guy because he's actually quite easy mechanically and is just a knowledge gap. Like once you can get in your brain like, oh, I just want this ability available to me, I feel like the skill shots are not super hard. He can wave clear really well. He can still, like his ult is just like one of the simplest ults in the game still. You just throw it out at someone and it blows up. But the interesting thing that I've noticed about like good Huis are the ones that play really short range, and if you try and engage on them, they can fear you. That's the biggest mechanic test of Hui, which I can never pass, so I dropped it.
That's what I was going to say. The fear, how you use that is so game-changing. You fear people out of dashes, you fear people out of engages. It is wildly powerful. And it is a cool champion, you know, definitely. It's lower on mobility, so your positioning is really important. It's kind of testing different skills here.
Yep.
As Dark Wings has been, to me, doing really well overall throughout this year. You know, 4 Sentinels has been a pleasant surprise. As Dokla in some trouble here, getting put very low by Impact, but does get the level up, and Impact is low on mana, so Impact just going to take the reset here and go back to base. But Impact on a tank could mean good things here for Sentinels. Obviously, very famous for his tank play throughout his career.
See if he can have a little bit better of a laning phase. So we have these stats from before the series, but this series has mostly been true. Dokla's having an amazing summer split. I mean, leading the league where everyone constantly gasses up Thanatos for good reason, but Dokla's laning stats have just been better. Goal difference 14, CSD at 14, XP difference, as well as getting not that much help from his own jungle. So been doing an exceptional job.
Yeah, Thanatos obviously is you know, known as the best laning top laner in the league and has been for quite some time. But I will say he has been much less dominant in his 1v1s, I think, this split. I think his team fighting has been really, really good. But I have felt like, you know, whether it is an intentional style choice to try to be a little bit more safe or what it is, he's been playing, I think, less that lane dominant style. And Hambach potentially going to get in here behind them as they're just kind of baiting this. Isles could be in some trouble. In comes Hambach. They're going to pop the early heal. Flash forward there by Huhi. Blocked the hook. But it is going to be okay for Isles, and at the end of the day, it's even trade on those summoners.
Yeah, blocks the hook, but it was into the aftershock of Isles, so they couldn't do any damage before he get back into turret range, and now he could be really delayed if Berserker interrupts this. So you can see already Armeo back for his second full clear, already on Gromp, and Saint roams down too.
Yeah, Saint being very annoying there. They will spot him, but I don't think they have any more interrupts to
Instant invade. So Armeo actually skips his Gromp. Once Saint got the second interrupt, they're now going to try and counter jungle the Krugs.
Yeah, this is nicely done. The recall just finishing now there for Hambach is going to be out on the map, but will find himself down the Krugs. We'll see if it's anything more than that, as Dokla has pushed on top side for now, so would be there to support Armeo if needed. Looks like Hambach will be able to just grab the Raptors, and we'll just lose that one camp for his trouble. I think it was worth a look for sure. You know, had a good angle on that wraparound, but played well enough there by Berserker and Isles that doesn't end up being much of anything.
Yeah, now he's got some free time. Gonna try for a Raptor invade. So knowing his Krugs were stolen, he knows if Armeo wants to full clear down, that he's not gonna be able to defend these Raptors, and that's really where you're gonna counter it. And everyone's on top of this game. That's why Isles is here to check, but unless he's got a Shyvana there with him, he can't defend.
Yeah, Isles being a little bit annoying, trying to reset, buy some time, so he kind of pulls the camp to the side and then forces to reset as Hambach arrives. But of course, it is too little, it is too late. Armeo was just kind of clearing top to bot, so we'll lose one camp for one camp, and not that big of a deal on either side, as the gold lead very, very slightly in the favor of LYON.
So one of the reasons that was more important is because of the Smite upgrade when your treat reaches 20 charges. If they don't steal those Raptors, Armeo could have continued to clear down, and he'd have an upgraded Smite for that top Scuttle Crab or that Drake. But now, since it was denied, he's likely going to wait until 5:30 to get the extra treat, smite the Krugs, and have his upgraded Smite. That's why he reset after the Raptor.
Impact going all out. Dokla going to have to try to kite this one out. We'll see if he wants to go for a Q3 flash instead. Just uses the footwork, dashing forward, and Dokla has a dash of his own to answer. Back has to be a little bit careful because the public execution is ready, so he's just going to be going right back to base. Off the back of that is out of mana once again. And we can see some of the playoff scenarios here. If Sentinels win, it does knock LYON down to 99.5% chance to make the playoffs. So they're going to be pretty worried about that. But of course, it is a pretty big jump for Sentinels. If they lose, they're about 70% as far as the math is concerned. So still very good odds to make playoffs. But you know, would be a big boon to their chances here if they're able to win this. As Saint going to get hit by the Spiraling Despair. In comes Huhi looking for the binding. Of course, does not have anything to bind him onto. So Saint just holds onto the flash and is able to run out. Now flashes the wall, perfectly timed. Dodges the Severing Bolt. In comes Huhi. Darkwing splashes forward, hits him with the Crushing Maw, grabs the first blood. Saint just gets everything in the kitchen sink thrown at him and eventually falls.
And the big thing there is with flashing the Nocturne, he was able to avoid the damage of the Nocturne Q, but they just followed him over the wall, still got the kill. Armeo still got the Drake. That's kind of the trade there, is going to be a little bit of additional gold, but first Drake over to LYON.
It's quite nice for Darkwings. Grabs that first blood. Now up 750 gold, has a much better buy as a result. As Huhi in some trouble, bullet time over the wall might be enough to finish him off. One more auto would do it, but Isles can't get in range. Huhi limps away, barely surviving thanks to the heal as well as those Keeper Shrines.
Not even close. And a lot of power from Berserker right now, sitting on that BF sword and longsword compared to the Cull pickaxe of Rahel. But with Dragon already being down, not going to be much until we see the next one spawn in 4 minutes.
Yeah, that BF first base buy always feels so nice on MF because that's really your only super expensive component. You're rushing in towards that BT, so being able to get that makes it pretty easy to grab everything else piecemeal. And you can see LYON sending their bot lane up towards top here, initiating that swap, as it will be Dokla heading back out on the map and going to be answering the Caitlyn down on that bottom side.
Yeah, and just as you were talking about the playoff percentages for Sentinels, just a reminder of their upcoming schedule. 2 games next week, FlyQuest and DSG. You really got to circle that DSG game as the biggest one because that's likely the team that they would be competing with if they are to miss playoffs. DSG Dignitas still 0-4. 6 of the 8 teams make playoffs, and head-to-head tiebreakers are very important. Yeah. So that's going to be the most important game for them. But, I mean, if they win this one, very, very high chance to make playoffs.
Yeah, almost for sure, you'd think. And Sentinels here going to be starting up the grubs. Armeos is in the area, has a level lead for now, and has that ulti ready to go. Berserker moving over, but has no bullet time. Will just be the one grub take there for Hambach. Pretty standard stuff. It's going to be 2 for LYON, 1 there for Sentinels. But as long as you don't give over all 3, you're really just kind of not concerned.
Yep, and I feel like LYON ends up doing this a lot with MF, as they're more likely to move the MF pre-role quest completion for objectives like this, because you're a little bit extra fast, and then not to mention, Dokla can put some pressure onto Rahel. It's going to delay the role quest, but does allow them to continue to secure objectives.
Yep, and MF is so strong at playing through mid lane. So once you get the BT, just Parker mid, move the Rise and the Ambessa out towards those side lanes, and you can play that 1-3-1 style pretty effectively as a result. Rahel down here on this bottom side, down about 400 gold. Of course, he's going to make some of that back once he does cash in on the Cull. Has stayed safe, but you know, was getting a little bit behind in that 2v2 to Isles and Berserker.
Pretty nice move there by Rahel, though, was able to interrupt Dokla's recall when they do the swap and the swap back. A lot of loss of tempo. That's a full wave that's going to be interrupted. So a very valuable play there by Rahel. Going to keep Impact in an extremely good spot in this lane against Ambessa.
Yep, and has that full Thornmail now completed here. So does finish that first item Thornmail. And will be pretty tanky as a result. I'm never that big of a fan, honestly, of the Thornmail rush, though. I feel like, I mean, it gives you a faster item completion if you feel like you need to stop for Bramble, but I just feel like your dueling power is a lot lower compared to, you know, some of these other first item rushes.
Iceborne Gauntlet could be a pretty good one, but...
Yeah, I mean, Iceborne works so well in Kasante.
We'll see. Impact, I don't question his tank play. I'm going to question his Kled play, but I mean, he does have a 66% win rate on Kled now.
There you go.
So 4-2.
Shouldn't be questioning it.
Can't question that.
Not the Varus play either, 100% win rate.
Yeah. 62% win rate when he goes down 30 CS at 15. Unlikely to happen this game.
He'd have to stop farming very quickly if he wants to pump up that win rate. We'll see if he does it. And in goes the Pathmaker. Impact and Dokla is trading pretty heavily here. Dokla does not have the Eclipse completed, though. Is going to hit him with the Public Execution. In comes the Realm War. Impact should just be able to walk this one out, but we will see. Flash is forced, so they do get the Summoner for the roam here from Saint, but probably going to be the cost of a couple minions and maybe even a play mid lane. And Dokla definitely needs to get back to base to buy his first item before he looks for more fights. Saint, though, going to be in some trouble. Dodges out on the Crushing Maw. Is going to be hit by the Tempered Fate there, but that kind of immunes the Fear, so Hui not getting a lot done, and a great ulti comes in from Armeo. 3-man Fear, but just gets turned around on there by Darkwings and Hambach and forced to flash out.
Much ado about nothing at the end of it, though. Flash ult from Armeo, Ghost from Saint. I think Saint was probably fine with or without that Bard ult attack coming in from Hui, and it's the counter engage by Armeo ends up being maybe the mistake. Very close game still, but that Nocturne ult being burned will give Saint a little bit more freedom, or even Dokla a bit more freedom to play aggressive in the side lanes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's really interesting, right? Because in a situation like that, maybe you just let the Fear Tether land and then you ult the tower and you keep chasing, right?
Yeah.
You know, a play like that, I think, has a higher percentage chance of getting the kill. Whether or not it would have, to your point, who knows? Might not have made the difference, but I think that probably would have been the correct run of play in that moment. But it is a couple ults used here for Hambach, and hasn't really been able to get too much done, but is farming just fine. But I think Armeo is pretty happy with how things have gone. Just comfortably farming up here on the Shyvana. Gonna have his Triforce pretty soon, and it's gonna be pretty difficult, I think, to deal with in these team fights.
I think so. Armeo's gonna have better late game scaling. Hambach's main job in this game, since we mentioned the Nocturne just feels pretty out of place with the rest of their team comp, I think it's just going to be controlling Ryze in the side lanes as much as possible. Because if it comes to a team fight, like Nocturne flying in, he's probably just going to die. So it's just about being close enough to his solo laners if Ryze ever goes to make a play to at least turn off the lights.
Yeah.
And make LYON a little bit discombobulated.
And potentially, you know, it is difficult for Berserker to press bullet time if Nocturnal hasn't been pressed, right? You know, you can at least maybe make him cancel that, or maybe make him think twice about pressing it. But definitely not the easiest Nocturne game here, as they aren't the most squishy carries. Ryze especially just becomes very, very difficult. And then MF, if you don't kill her quick with the BT, of course, is going to be able to heal right back up. There's the Eclipse now completed for Dokla, as expected. And we just kind of continue farming. It is a lead for Berserker in the bot lane, matched by that advantage for Darkwings in the mid lane, and that basically is the only thing happening right now. A couple hundred gold between supports, but just isn't really relevant.
Kind of interesting that in a series where objective and champion bounties have swung both games, they've just decided they don't want to be ahead. No bounties for me. We're going to play it slow until the deciding team fights. No slingshotting here.
Yeah,
we're not pulling back the slingshot. We're just keeping the rock right in the middle.
They both realize the team that gets the lead loses. So they're trying to make sure they, at all costs, do not get ahead.
Just
keep it even.
Standard gameplay.
Exactly. Keep it even. Keep it all
They got
safe.
the first trick. We better get that second one.
Yeah, exactly. Got to keep it even. But we'll see if anyone can get a significant advantage in one of these next Dragon fights. It will be Ocean Soul on the table. Of course, valuable for everyone, but whenever you have a team, you know, with someone like Cassante on it, Cassante, true tanks in general, with Ocean Soul just becomes so tough to deal with.
Yeah.
And Saint did get behind off of that early gank that they made work on him, but he's just been chilling, farming it up in those side lanes, and is well above 10 CS per minute, so Saint is going to get his items in a reasonable time, even though that row was maybe a bit more delayed than he would have liked.
Absolutely. Nocturne does make it a little bit more difficult on him to play aggressive in the side lanes. This isn't the Quid Ryze style currently, but it's because they haven't had massive pressure in lanes. Saint did die early, as you've already mentioned, and we're probably in just a bit of a holding pattern until this next Drake, although that's a lot of LYON people grouping up together.
Yeah, there's a lot of them in that area here. Looking to see, is there an angle to fight for something? And it looks like for now there is not. Dokla going to have to stay safe, as his team was all moving through that bot side, going to be playing towards the scuttle. So Dokla just kind of hanging out in the river, trying to get vision of anyone moving up there, and was able to spot Hui before getting back to the tower to just collect this wave that is being pushed in. Armeo grabs the scuttle for himself and is very close as a result to cresting that level 11 and does have that Triforce completed. Really big power spike there for Armeo, especially when he gets that rank 2 of the ulti. Can be such a game changer, especially if you are over chasing. And as someone, the counter engage there from the Dragon's Ascent with Fear is huge.
You can see role quests still coming in for LYON as well. Part of that is because they've swapped so early. It's still going to happen. It's not really that big a deal. The Scuttle Crab even is the mini objective. That's worth sacrificing your role quests a little bit for, if it means that Armeo does hit that level 11.
Yeah, AD carry is always the one, you know, AD carry and top to me are always the ones that are kind of interesting, like about because you just can't get that gold back, kind of. You can't get the bonus experience back, right? But support, it's kind of like, you're gonna get the gold eventually. Who cares? And mid lane, as long as you get those boots upgraded, it's gonna happen, right? So it's not that big of a deal. Of course, there is a cost to delaying any of them, but as long as they have them ready by the time there is a major fight, which I think they will, then should be good to go. Sentinels, though, going to be able to grab this Herald uncontested on the top side, while LYON are setting up on that bot side for a potential dive here onto Impact. Lyles is coming in behind him. He is going to be hard to kill, but they might just focus down the tower first. Armeo, though, did pull aggro. TP's coming in. Impact trying to run here. The Bard ult comes in, buys a little bit of time, but the tower is gone. Dragon's Ascent going to get popped there. Armeo does not connect on anyone with the fear, but there's public execution in onto Impact. He goes all out, trying to run for the hills. Huhi, though, gets room prison and knocked down, so Isles is able to help them corral that and get a kill on the enemy support.
Ooh, so clutch that they were able to finish Huhi at the end of that. But now mid lane, we see Hambach.
Yeah, Berserker in some trouble. Flashes away, but doesn't actually create enough space. But in comes the Realm Warp, in comes LYON as the cavalry arrives to get a little bit of revenge. That ace in the hole plus the paranoia combo. Too much for Berserker to survive, even with both sums.
Really insane map play coming out as this Drake is spawning. It all starts with the dive that kills Huhi, then Nocturne, Rise Ult are exchanged. So what ends up happening is Darkwings gets full waves and the turret up top, but when all is said and done, Armeo should be able to smite that.
And that's that flash. Yeah, Armeo had to flash out, was worried about Rahel moving over. Dokla had impact low, but can't actually get the kill. They do get the dragon at the end of the day and back off. And of course, it is always nice here, for Shyvana. Every large monster, minion, etc. You are scaling. It is not specifically tied to dragons anymore, but the more you farm, the tankier you get, and that scale mail just keeps getting more and more powerful.
Yeah, 47 stacks at the scale mail right now for 14 bonus armor and 14 bonus magic resist. Watch this play one more time. While the darkness is there, they know the play is mid, so they start the Realm Warp while they are blind. And then when the darkness runs off, they can very easily kill Hambach in the 3v1. Berserker did end up burning Flash Barrier, but I think still an overall good sequence for LYON since they got the objective. They traded up 2 kills for 1, not to mention killing the bot turret.
Yeah, and killing that dragon was also really big because it means the next time they have a big dragon fight, Berserker will have his summoners back.
Yeah.
And remember, we will very likely be seeing LYON and maybe TL. Those are looking like the top 2 teams, but who knows who's going to be there. So you better be there at the Gas South Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. It is October 3rd and 4th. That is our summer finals. That is where we are going to decide who is going to go fight for us at Worlds. And Worlds is NA, so I feel like it's that much more important for the LCS teams. This one, talking to the pros, they want really bad.
I would want them to be there as well. I would also want, and I'm being greedy here, Inspired to win Game 4 against HLE, because then we would have sent half our league. It would completely change the dynamic of Summer Split.
Oh, I thought you were just going to list all the Game 5s they lost. When Gen G and BLG. I would have liked them to win those ones too.
Yeah.
But it was really cool that we got close.
It was. It was really cool. We're the 3rd best region in the world.
It's coming. It's coming at Worlds. I feel it.
3rd best team in the world, 3rd best region in the world.
Getting lots of practice in those Game 5s.
Gets him with the Severing Bolt. I can see the Storm Surge coming in as well for Darkwings, going for the Magic Pen build, but maybe we see a fight here in the jungle.
Yeah, they're just going to full send it, and Hambach did not see his coming. Huhi with a great bit of time being purchased there as Hambach flashed over the wall, then ults back to safety, and on the top side, Impact is fighting against Saint here in a 1v1. That was some tricky stuff there. Saint trying to sidestep, is able to do it, gets out with a Realm Warp, but that was a crazy run of play. The Bard ult comes in to buy time. He flashes over the wall, then Paranoia is back over the wall the other way and is able to survive and get out.
The most elusive Nocturne possible. I did wonder if who he had trolled, though, because Darkwings had thrown out his spiraling despair into the big group of people. It just flew through the stasis of the Bard ultimate, but they still end up winning the fight, getting the kill here. So everyone's just thinking about it. Who he lands the stun, they think, why not? Just fight. Hambach was 100% dead if Huhi doesn't throw that out. Flash back over to kill Armeo. Just awesome stuff there by Hambach at Sentinels.
Yeah, very well done. And you can see the initial moment, and he's like, oh wait, it's not bad.
Not bad.
From
not
despair
great.
to apathy.
Not bad.
Not joy. Felt okay about it. And Berserker also had to cancel that bolt time earlier because Rahel came in and was kind of pushing him out on the side.
Nice.
And Rahel now on that Infinity Age plus the Hex Optics, so is very strong at this point in the game. And once he gets in potentially an LDR, whatever his third item is. That's where Caitlyn usually starts to go pretty crazy at this point.
I think Sentinels is in a pretty good spot in this game as long as Hambach doesn't lose his mind, because if Rahel Darkwings continue scaling, they just have so much range.
Yeah.
And I do think it's really hard for Saint to take over this game because Cassante is really hard to kill on the side lanes, and because Nocturne can kind of protect Darkwings a little bit from side lane Realm Warps. And I mean, look at this mid prior they have. They still have 3 plates on their own mid turret, and they've almost taken down tier 2 mid.
Armeo going to be spotted, sidesteps the Pathmaker there. And I agree, you know, it is definitely tough to play against this sort of range and that space control, that zone control that they do have with the traps as well as the Hui Ai. But at the same time, there's some explosive engage on the other time. I mean, you know, you look at Isles, he throws out an ult, you follow it up with public execution and everything else, and now flash forward there. Saint gonna get hit by the binding, tempered fate to buy some time as in comes Darkwings, roots him up, ace in the hole. Impact is here, the Avengers assemble, flash forward, as well as the Pathmaker. Berserker getting the bullet time down onto Huhi, but Impact goes all out onto Isles. Isles is gonna fall. Hambach pushes back the MF. In goes Armeo, and Dokla has arrived. Impact is on the side, and he may be the sacrificial tank, but he jumps back with the footwork. Hambach is going to be able to spell shield the public execution, but it still does not matter. Dokla gets in, kills him off, but meanwhile, mid lane, the Caitlyn was pushing the whole time and knocked down another tower.
What a sequence there by Sentinels. Could have been oh so much better if the magical journey didn't expire for Hambach to take. They're going to try and rush this Drake down as well before Armeo can get here. Jungler down, so they got to do all the damage. Should be safe. Doesn't look like Armeo's going to steal it. And Sentinels match the Drakes 2-2, but hold this goal advantage in the game.
3K up, and it is definitely not any significant scaling edge on either side. It's not like last game where you're talking about ornaments.
Gets the connection post-flash because the first part of the barbecue connected and then hit the wall. Put down the eye to guarantee the root on a Saint, but then it looked a little dicey, but almost the extension of this play kept baiting LYON to bring more, because Impact getting under the turret doesn't matter. That's when the Hui ultimate can come in to take out LYON. Hambach goes a little crazy under the turret, and then like right here, it was the great escape for Impact. If Hambach had just left, he's the jump target. Does actually spell shield the Ambessa ult, just doesn't click the portal. Everybody could have been safe. Hambach ends up falling, but still a great play for Sentinels.
Would you say that was a cool looking spell shield?
It was almost as cool as like a Sivir spell shield. Is that where you're going? At least this one gives attack
like,
speed.
hey, look how enjoyable that was. That could have been Sivir. Corki couldn't do that.
Honestly, spell shield not that cool looking. Still died.
All right, fair.
Yeah. It's like a Banshee's Veil. Whoa!
But he had to press the Banshee's Veil
Damage
at the right
denied.
time. That's high skill. A Realm Warp going to be coming in. They are looking here for Hui. We're guessing that he was recalling in the brush, but he was not. He is very safe and back behind his tower. So it is Sentinels pushing everywhere else on the map right now. Darkwings built that early lead thanks to the gank that came out and has been able to keep that advantage now 1.2k up. Completes another item here. The Crypt Bloom is dumb. And Rahel working in towards that LDR. So he is going to be having that completed. And on 3 items, his consistent damage is going to be incredibly high.
I like the Hui build here with the recently buffed Spellslinger shoes, so just going more and more Magic Pen. That's why he goes Storm Surge. That's why he rushes the Crypt Bloom as well. But also a reminder here, the LCS Week 6 schedule. LYON trying to remain undefeated in matches here against Sentinels, and we're assuming that Inspired will return. So a lot to look forward to.
Also, going to be an absolute banger next week, as we do have some other matchups, and we have the LCS Pros taking over the broadcast on Sunday. They're going to be running the show. They have no restrictions, except those imposed on them by the producers.
Yeah, we will see. No restrictions that we know of.
Producers, whoa! I'm not restricting anything. I'm just putting it out there, Big G.
Azael has imposed no restrictions.
No restrictions imposed by Azael on the pro players. We'll see, though. It's going to be a lot of fun having them take over. Nice sidestep there from Saint. Great movement. And it does keep himself safe. He had no summoner, so if he got caught by that, he could have been dead.
Yeah, I don't know what the teams were expecting to happen in the mid lane here. If Nocturne turns off the lights and flies in, he probably dies. If Dokla ults in, he probably dies. So it's a bit of an eye contact fight. Unless someone's trying to control space, we're not going to see much happening. I do think long term, the Hui Caitlyn will win these extended duels.
Look at Hambach, though. He gets vision on the side. The Realm Warp coming out. They're going to try to survive. And the Realm Warp was early enough that they break the Fear Tether. That is a great trade for LYON here in this moment. But Dokla taking quite a bit of damage from the Severing Bolt. And that vision plant, bought the vision needed to go in, but couldn't actually find the kill, unfortunately, there for Sentinels. And Saint now level 16, working towards that actualizer. Will be a very big spike when he can get it.
Nice, also able to secure pretty much every single last bit of gold from those Kruggies. It is a game, though, where Sentinels has control. And this is another test for LYON without Inspired. Because I would say in Spring Split, these are the types of games that LYON would find ways to win. They would just find a way to get an entrance to a dragon, and they would find a way to get an amazing flank in a team fight. And it seemed like again and again they would be able to get away with it. But here, there's so much setup for Sentinels, so much poke from this way. It's really difficult to get in, but LYON still is the best team fighting team we've seen in the LCS. We'll see if they're able to come back from it.
Yeah, and when we saw that in game 2, right? Even in this series, they were massively down in gold. They were able to come back, thanks to some great team fighting. But also, it is going to be tough in this game. If you are not first to the objective, it is very difficult. Uhi will be sent backwards through that magical journey. And that bit of poke that came over the wall from Darkwings, the Storm Surge proc and everything going through, was half of Isle's health through his W shield. Just basically instantly. So that is tough to deal with. Saint now has the components for the actualizer, does pick up another plate and pushes in on that top side. So the minion wave getting denied there. And Sentinels has no one answering up on that top side. They're group 3 right now, and they're just playing mid lane and bot currently, as Impact is heading back to base. Saint definitely would love to get the actualizer before that next big fight. Might not have the ability to do so, as Armeo is just taking so much damage. In goes Hambach. The Realm Warp coming out there from Saint to rejoin the team, but a great tempered fake catches Saint right as he arrives. The bullet time is laying down the covering fire. Berserker keeps Saint safe for now, but it is still jungler down, support down here. And Sentinels may want to use this to go Baron.
Looks like they're going to use the time to kill Baron. You got to wonder if they'd want to go for Drake as well, though. Sometimes it's really difficult to convert these Barons. They're already here, so they're going to kill it. But I can also see Dokla trying to get early position on Drake and Impact trying to disrupt this. So it's take Baron, quick reset, right out to Drake, because Isles and Armeo will probably be respawned.
Darkwings does have TP, so we'll see if he wants to join. I mean, Dokla knows he can't just take this in the face of his opponent, and Berserker, I think, has made the call that, you know what, there's not actually an angle to do it. He is going back to base, so Sentinels winning out on both sides. Great pick found initially there on Armeo, and gets them soul point as well as the Baron. Beautiful fight, really. Darkwings is having an exceptional Hui game, and then the Bard ult over the back was just icing on the cake to lock down Saint as well. And LYON says they don't want the smoke here. They don't have enough setup to walk into the space, and they don't want a repeat of what just happened to Baron. Actualizer completed there for Saint, but here it is one more time. Armeo on vision. Just walks Bard's in and gets tagged, and just look at all of that damage coming out. That is a crazy amount of burst. Yeah, and then you can see pretty easy to pick up Isles afterwards. Nice bullet time there by Berserker, delayed a little bit, and Golden Glue is losing his mind as usual. Golden Glue has some of the greatest coach reactions. Like, you can feel that he is on the roller coaster. He is in there with the team. Now Soul Point, 3,500 gold lead, 1.3K of that on Darkwings and Baron. You see how LYON can hold on here. Berserker about halfway to level 16, we're almost 17, and that is the flash gone now for Berserker. His Tempered Fate well placed from Huhi. Means Berserker can have to team fight that next dragon without his flash. Impact now looking for Isles. Isles flashes away. Ace in the hole coming through. Flash forward there from Impact. Gonna go all out and finish off Isles. A lot spent to get the support, but they do indeed get him. Yeah, and I mean, that's so much engaged down from LYON now. No flash on Berserker's got to be really careful about where he steps up. Nocturne matching Rise is so good for Sentinels right now in order to continue this siege. Yeah, it is really, really good. That Baron buff as well, making it work here. Berserker chunked down about half HP. They cannot defend the tower. He doesn't want to spend the bullet time on the wave. Just has to back it up. And if you ever stop and channel that, you can get hit by the orbital strike there from Hui, by all of these different tools that they have to harass you. So They're going to have to give up the bottom lane and hip off of the pick onto Isles, and Sentinels playing a really strong series here for themselves.
You could see Saint was thinking about trying to get a Realm Warp in, but Sentinels being very respectful, running far, far away. Sentinels looking clean. Wins game 1 off a comeback. Pretty easy to get tilted after what happened in game 2. They were up 9,000 gold. They had a 4,000 gold lead on Kazakh's jungle. Lose a couple team fights, game's over. But didn't feel like they were tilted at all going into this game. They played very stable in lanes. Only 4 deaths for them in 30 minutes. And Darkwings has really just been a rock, landing every spell he needs to, holding space extremely well. Sentinel's just been very coordinated to this point. They might have another pick on Isles. We'll see.
Forward there. Impact looking for Isles here once again, as Impact going to be the target. And on the side, it is Berserker in trouble. He's dueling against Hambach. He's surviving for now. The GA gets popped. The stasis is going to be used onto Berserker. Isles blocks the follow-up. The shutdown, though, onto Cassante. Another kill here, and the bullet time is ripping out over Sentinels. It is a 1K shutdown going the way of the Rise, and LYON crushed that fight.
The caster curse comes in. LYON team fighting prevails once more. We had been talking about how it's hard for the Nocturne to be involved in these fights. If he does go in, he dies. And I think that was the moment where he finally had gone a little bit too deep, because they didn't actually have a great start to this fight. There was no kidnap over the wall. There's no perfect angle here other than, Berserker no flash. But look at Armeo on the right side. Darkwings and Rahel are completely occupied by Shyvana, which allows the carries of LYON free time to not only pop the GA, but also kill Impact. They get the bounty on Cassante, they get the bounty on Hambach, and then they can really turn and get aggressive. And Saint flashes in for another bounty. 1,000 gold to the Rise for that kill onto Hui.
Yeah, quietly some really good team fighting there from Armeo. You know, he was not the one getting kills, but like you say, he stops the follow-up, and that is the important thing, because at this point in the game, you're not killing him solo as a Nocturne. It's just not going to happen unless you're so far ahead. I mean, with Laka there, with the CC there, with the Bloodthirster healing, you just don't have the damage to actually get him down. And look at the damage from the Rise. If you try to fight past a Rise on 3 items with Actualizer, that's what it looks like.
He's going to get you. Darkwing still has the most damage in the game. Mostly it's just been poke. Saint now the most damage on his team. But the big thing here is the bounties that were pulled in that last fight. Saint almost as fed as Rahel.
Oh, Isles. It's a pretty big chunk as he hooked forward onto Hambach, but it was spell shielded. And Menti took quite a bit of damage in return, but is going to be able to heal back up with the Honey Fruit.
But now, crucially, LYON is in the river, so they were able to get set up here. They want to snap engage on someone if they check the wrong spot.
Realm Warp being threatened. Armeo going to go in. He has the Dragon's Ascent. Is he going to send it? They turn off the lights. In comes the Dragon's Ascent into the backline. Armeo in trouble, though. He's feared up. Spiraling Despair is going to be able to take him down. And Hambach survives on the other side. He just bought some time. Well, LYON lose their jungler, and now it is LYON in a 4v5 with no jungler who have got to hold on. Saint, though, looking for a fight, loses a bit of health there as Huhi magical journeys to safety over the wall.
Yeah, Saint burned his Actualizer in that trade, so he's much less powerful. No jungler to contest this. That's going to be Ocean Soul going over the side of Sentinels. Hambach, as you mentioned, turning off the lights to kind of make that engage disorganized is the crucial moment.
And now it is Ocean Soul here for Cassante, who is already tough to take down. And they have no healing debuff at all on their entire team. There's nothing, right? So that is going to be pretty difficult to deal with. They're going to need to try to pick up some sort of healing debuff application. And when you have the Ocean Soul, neutral objectives do not threaten you at all. LYON do spot this. It's at 12K, but with Armeo just respawning, there's no recourse.
Soul Baron and then run out to try and just collect more gold. I don't know if they need to end the game on this Baron. They obviously will if the opportunity presents itself, but we'll see if Hambach has controlled those Nocturne urges. They really just need to play around Hui, Caitlyn poke with the Baron, let Impact stand in front, and save the Nocturne ult, the Paranoia, in case LYON tries to engage. And that's when the fight starts. You kind of just press it and don't even think about going in for a carry. You just need to play the lights out man.
Yeah, and it's one of those fights where, LYON try to be the ones starting it off, try to be the ones playing for the aggressive angle, but they had control, in the river. And Sentinels decided, you know what, we're just going to play through mid lane. LYON tried to force it with the Realm Warp plus the Dragon Ascent. It just did not work out for them. And maybe LYON could have just ceded some mid lane control and tried to play for the Dragon.
Yeah, and Sentinel's going to have to play a little bit faster because Saint is really far up in the bot lane. And he will kill turrets quickly. So Sentinels with the Caitlyn, with the Baron, got to push extremely aggressively to force Saint back to base.
Yeah, and we'll see how quickly he is going to come back. Is Berserker just going to use the bullet time to try to clear out these waves? In
They're
comes
just gonna
the
send.
ultimate from Nocturne. They're just full sending it. Flash out there from Berserker. He is alive for now. Barely avoids the Tempered Fate as Armeo is fighting under the tower here. Impact has gone all out and is trying to take him down. Is able to do so. Now Saint is coming back to base. He buys the death cap, but they're in a 4v5 and their base is in trouble. Darkwings gets incredibly low. Dokla goes in. There's the bullet time. Takes out Darkwings. Impact is running, but Dokla is there to chase him.
Oh, Berserker!
Three put low. Berserker burst down. It's Saint versus the world here, trying to survive against Hombok. Hombok is going to have to run because Dokla and Saint are there. They're going to get the kill. This is going to be 4 kills going the way of LYON as they hold the line just barely.
I absolutely love this series. As Saint is top lane, Sentinels make the play to just full send it, and it is the right play in this case because if they can push Berserker out with no actualizer rise, it's fine for Hombok to do this, and it buys them enough time to actually just kill this turret because there's no way Rise is getting back quickly. It's the extension of the play. They broke the inhib in the top side. They could probably move mid right there, easily clear that out, get 2 or 3 inhibs, but instead they say, we want to end the game. And here's where the Isles hook right out of stasis, one-shots with the bullet time. Berserker, watch Berserker Rahel. They just mutually assured destruction. They just kill each other right there. And then Dokla in the back end of this fight can clean up. And Saint Rise, who did make it eventually, can clean up Hombok as well.
Yeah, and Saint is full build. Had the death cap there, and you can see some frustration on their faces. Berserker almost taken down. You know, it was just that full send. As soon as they hit the ace in the hole, they don't let him heal back up. They just send the Nocturnal. Impact is flashing in. Armeo did a good job peeling with that Dragon Ascent, landing the fear to be able to create that space. And I think Darkwings just felt so confident because he had the zonies available, but he had no flash, and they timed it well. They had the bullet time out of there, and so that was a big kill. Stopped Sentinels in their tracks, but it is still Sentinels with the Ocean Soul. It is them with control of the map here, and it is them pushing forward and looking to try to seal the deal on what would be a big upset. LYON had not lost the game before today so far this LCS split, and they are on the precipice of losing a series.
Yeah, you can see Sentinels was 5,000 gold up, then not, then 3,000 gold up, then not, and
now we're even. Oh, Realm Warp,
Saint,
they're full sending it. Everyone is going into this one. They're going to try to look for Sentinels. Nocturne is down on the bot side. The bullet time across multiple members. Rahel incredibly low. Rahel is down, and it is Sentinels in a lot of trouble here. LYON running through them. Saint is low. Impact kills them, but it might not even matter. Hombok trying to fight, but Hombok cannot do it all by himself. Darkwings is alive for now, but they're going to chase him. Their base is low, though. He TP's out. Berserker is going to push mid. I don't think it will result in much more because LYON have to defend the base, and Darkwings escaped.
What a look there. I don't think Sentinels even saw the Realm Warp. So by the time they were on top of them is when Hombok could press the Paranoia, and then with Darkwings living on the back end of that fight, it meant Berserker couldn't go mid-wave to kill the Nexus. What an engage there by LYON.
And that was insanely confident because if that goes bad, if you Realm Warp in and you get hit by a Tempered Fate into a Spiraling Despair, that could just be GG, right? Like, you could just be dead. That's crazy confidence. Yeah. It's rare to see so many people go in the Realm Warp together.
So let's see. This is Sentinel's vision with their wards.
They see it.
They see it. You have to press Paranoia like yesterday.
Okay, we can also defend.
Look
here.
I'm taking result.
Keep chase. No,
She's ulted.
Look good. We're bar ulted, but it's good, it's good, I think. I'm fine.
Looks decent.
Yeah, wait. Fight it out. Kazante, guys.
Careful stacking. Waves over the wall.
Yeah, I know. It's fine. We kid her. Play for end.
Can you come Ambessa? And you can keep later.
Oh, you can see Berserker wanted to end, but now we have Elder fight time. Ocean Soul for Sentinels, 3,000 gold deficit, and they're the ones with control of the river.
Yeah, they are controlling the river here. LYON has mid lane control, but they're not going to be pushing for the towers. They're looking to fight. Dokla taking a little bit of poke there, as is Isles, and now Isles takes a headshot, is down below half HP. And Sentinels, you do not want to be trading poke here against this Ocean Soul team. Locket has to be used there. They're going to go for the Realm Warp. Isles is going to go on a one-way trip. He's into the back line. He's looking for Rahel. In comes the depth charge. There's no follow-up on the side. Impact is fighting against Saint and Berserker, but it is 2 members from LYON down, and there's the flash forward. The bullet time comes out. Berserker flashing in, trying to make it happen here. He's going to be all by himself. Saint on the other side trying to take out Impact. He's got to do it. He can't get him down. The Severing Bolt will be sidestepped, but it is Saint in a 1v4, and it feels like Sentinels have done it.
Looks like they're going to be the first team to take down LYON with the push in the bot lane.
There's the teleport coming in onto that bottom tower. Saint sidestepping as much as he possibly can, but Impact is back and he is full health, and Saint can do nothing. Hit by the crushing maw, stunned up by the Pathmaker. LYON will take their first defeat of the season. It is Sentinels that hand it to him 2-1.